Hey guys, sorry for being a little bit late there. Had to get started again because I don't know, sometimes my headset's weird. If I have my computer playing for too long, for whatever reason, it just decides to, not act as my main audio, which it should. But we're back, and right now, hold on. This is actually, come on, remove that. Get back here. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is a little bit different. So I'm going to give you my raw live reaction to the video, and then in the second half of the segment, I'm going to show you exactly why I chose to do this video, and what I basically reacted to it, and then I'm gonna give my judicial decree, I guess you could say, since I'm role playing as a judge. So here's my live reaction. Just know that you're gonna get the atheist side of me for this live stream, most likely, because I'm very skeptical in nature. I'm very much a non-believer in anything supernatural or anything of that nature. It's just my position. I don't hold anything against anybody who's the opposite of me. Just know that that's my side of me, and that's just me being a genuine of how I think about things. Anyway, let's get started on the video.
Do you see like these wars ending soon?
Well, by the end of this year, and I predict this in my 2026, I actually see all three of them gone. Trump, Putin, and Netanyahu gone.
By 2026, okay.
Not necessarily dead, just gone. Look what they're doing. They're bombing in Saudi Arabia, doing this and that, and then blaming it on Iran. And it's not Iran that did it. But they
Okay, but that doesn't explain why they'll be gone, though.
want them to be in trouble. This is how they always rolled. Let me tell you something. I remember when he got back in office, and by the way, he cheated to get back in office.
Okay, unfounded claim, but go ahead.
Just said, why? They said man has free will. Elon Musk helped.
Okay, so your argument is he cheated to get in, and your evidence is man has free will. Okay.
Him take a whole bunch of votes, what they're finding out down the road, he might not be here anymore. They will be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he didn't win.
No. First of all, it's already too late because he's already been elected. He's been in office for quite a while now, and the votes have already been certified. Yeah, there was a little bit of an issue when Elon said to everyone, hey, if you promise you'll vote for Trump, we'll give you these billion-dollar stakes. But here's the thing. One, no one was forced to actually vote the way they said they could. Plenty of people could have just literally said, yeah, I'll vote for him, got the money, and then, never did it. Same thing when we do those when we do those poll things where people call you and they say, hey, are you going to vote for this person? Yeah, you can say you're going to vote for that person, but they have no way of knowing that. They just want it for their statistics, and that's essentially what Elon did. Now, we can argue whether that was legal, but it's not the same thing as cheating or, the way she's saying, because you ultimately can't control the people's vote.
The light always outshines the dark. But don't forget, you can tell if you're feeling anything coming up against you that might be evil.
So if I have cardiac arrest, that's evil. That's the evilness coming from me. I can't just merely be suffering from blood pressure or anything of that nature. It's always got to be a supernatural relevance. I find that hard to believe.
Say by the blood of Jesus Christ.
I'm not looking at myself as a...
You can believe in Jesus all you want, but if someone's suffering like you did in that description, they're not going to be saved because of the pure belief of Jesus. If they're suffering from a clinically medical issue, the only thing that's going to help them is modern medicine.
Christian, but I also go to Jesus if I feel darkness or if I'm afraid. Or I have imagined myself being like a character in Lord of the Rings. Thou shalt not pass. That was
Okay, but we can't definitively say there's evil or not. Everyone can have their opinion on that matter, but you can't objectively look at something and say, this is what good looks like, or this is what evil looks like. It's all a matter of perspective. Just like when you feel that there's some evil coming towards you, you might genuinely believe that's happening, but that's subjective because only you are believing that.
works too.
Oh boy.
Linda G, a warm welcome to the Wisdom from North show. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. And it's nice to meet you.
I'm excited to dive deep with you today. You are a psychic medium and
Yeah.
you are delivering messages from the other side.
Yes.
A side we can't confirm is real. You can believe that you know we exist after death if you want. That's everybody's own business. But we can't say for a fact she's bringing messages from the other side because we don't know for a fact there's another side to begin with. People can believe there is one, but that's not the same thing as there is one.
You have also a huge YouTube following, and you are addressing and giving predictions about world events, and you're not afraid to even give predictions about politics.
Welcome to freedom of speech. Doesn't mean what she's saying is actually right, though. And even if it is, that doesn't validate her supernatural abilities as you're claiming she has. It just means that, hey, she might be a wise woman when it comes to understanding the logic of politics. It doesn't mean she's actually psychic.
Now, I'm curious to see where we're going today, but my first question is, how do you feel our conversation today might expand people's minds and consciousness?
Well, I just want people to relax. When I was told I had gone through cancer and was begging for my life because I have two little boys and their dad's an alcoholic and I knew he wouldn't raise them right. And I'm begging for my life. I have no breasts. I have no hair. I have my dog. I'm up in the hills of Marin County. And I said, please don't let me die. And a man said in my right ear, as clear as day, you know there's no such thing as death.
Okay, first off, we can't confirm that happened. So, second of all, who is this man? And third of all, even if a man said that in your right ear, that's factually not true because people die. And if there is no such thing as death, why do we have illnesses and diseases? So the claim that there is no such thing as death isn't true. People can argue if they truly believe that there's a life after death, that they don't stop existing after death. But the existence of death itself is a non-arguable point because people do biologically die.
And in that moment, I felt ashamed that I even went there because he's right. I knew as a hospice nurse, an ER nurse, I've seen a lot of death and I've seen spirit leave the body.
So you're gonna wait a minute. So you're a nurse. You've seen death before, and now you suddenly know that a person whom you did not know is right, saying there's no true death. Do you not understand how contradicting that is?
So I knew beyond a reasonable doubt that there is no such thing. There's a physical death, but
So there is no such thing. Now there's physical. Okay.
not a spiritual death. So
Right, because we can't confirm there's anything spiritual.
I apologized psychically. I said, you know, you're right. Oh, I'm so sorry. And I lifted myself energetically and said, into thy hands I commence my spirit. I know that if I'm to die, it's what was prophesied. It's supposed to be. I know you'll take care of everything. Please forgive me. I accept my fate. And in
That doesn't make any sense. If you had this attitude that you knew you couldn't die for reals, then one, there'd be no physical death. Second of all, you wouldn't have gone to the hospital. If you're truly this, oh, my fate is in your hands, take me into your grasp, O Lord, as you want us to believe, then you would have never gone to the hospital. You would have never sought treatment. You would have never worried about dying. But it's only until now that this man speaks to you and says, there is no true death, which you tell us you've already known, since you, as a supposed registered nurse, knows and have witnessed many deaths to understand there's physical death, but not spiritual death. Please stop me if this isn't making any sense, because this is your narrative.
That moment, something happened to me. I have a book that explains the details. Unveiling the Extraordinary. It's on audio. I knew that it was a spontaneous healing in a moment's notice. I couldn't get the smell.
What do you mean spontaneous healing? You literally want us to believe that while you were getting treated for cancer, you had, by somebody just whispering in your ear that death is not possible, and you just saying, I accept my fate, you just spontaneously healed. Yeah, there's no evidence of that. Thank you.
Of the earth off my hands, which my tribal, because I'm a Comanche, registered Comanche native, they said that's the sign of healing.
A sign of healing? I thought you spontaneously healed. Now we're just getting signs.
In that moment, I had a spontaneous healing. I've never had any issue. That was back in 2007, I think. I've never had any issue with cancer again.
I hope you do realize that that you still have cancer. The only way you would not have any issue with cancer, because what she's describing is remission. The only way you wouldn't continuously have cancer anymore is if they cut it out at an early stage. If it was too terminal and they weren't able to cut it out, then at most you're at remission. Which, I mean, you can be in remission for decades and you'll be completely fine for the most part. But the cancer is still there. You know, it's not gone. It's in remission. And if it is gone, that means they cut it out. Either way, your claim that you just spontaneously healed because you accepted the fate of the Lord is not true under any circumstances.
Wow.
And then my abilities went through the roof. I was zooming for 2 days after that incident where I couldn't hardly sleep. I was like zooming, and I thought if I touch a plug, electrical plug, I would blow it, because that's the kind of energy that was going through me. And then I had the smell.
No human has the ability to just spontaneously blow up an electrical device because they have energy in their hands. That's just nonsense.
The earth on my hands. And then it took a couple of days. And then all of a sudden I noticed, because I would do medium readings and I was pretty good, but I got even better. And then they also told me about subjects of political nature. And it was amazing. It's just one thing after the other. But I don't do personal readings anymore because I got overwhelmed. I'm 72 years old now. I'm tired. So, but I enjoy the YouTube and talking to people. But one of the things.
So you are so much more powerful after this cancer diagnosis that you just decided that you were so powerful that you worried that you would blow electrical circuits. But now you don't do any personal readings because you're too powerful for that, and you're scared that something will happen to you as you reach 72. But you have no problem telling all of YouTube these supposed psychic readings. Okay.
They said to me when I was in my bedroom, and the same man said, "What are you doing? You know there's no such thing as death." He said to me, "You're going to do a YouTube show." And I was exposed to it by my girlfriend.
How exactly is this supposed man? Is he a nurse? Is he a doctor? Was he a man in your head? You keep saying there's this man, but you don't give any description. And also, how the heck you really expect us to believe that he said you're going to do a YouTube show while you're lying there, afraid to death that you're dying of cancer? And also, you said earlier that this was a psychic conversation, which meant you weren't even talking to a real live living person. So for all we know, this could have just been, a medically hazed delusion built upon preconceived beliefs rather than a genuine person. I think I find that more likely than, oh, a random man just told you while you were in the hospital, hey, you're not going to die, and you're also, because death doesn't exist, and also start a YouTube channel. Okay.
Third Eye Champagne, she had done a YouTube and it was a lot of work. I said, what? I don't want to get up and brush my hair. You think if that powerful energy form could have just put a flash of light and taken me out. He said, Linda, you will help calm them down. That's his
Calm who down? From what?
exact word. And that is what I'm here for. Even if sometimes, because even with mediumships, I once had a hit with because I was raised, my parents were atheists. So I never had, but I saw Jesus when I was 8 years old. So I knew of Jesus.
The United States is literally dominated by Christian culture, and we are constantly, just like fast food, we are constantly there. Every 5 to 10 steps you make, there's a church, and predominantly they are Christian churches. Not all of them, but predominantly. So you encountering quote unquote Jesus when you're 8 is a byproduct of living in America. That doesn't prove anything.
Jesus in some words in the Bible, but he once told me, Jesus did, the same words that he said in the Bible, which, why do you look for the living amongst the dead? Remember when Mary was going to the cave? And he said, woman, why do you look for the living amongst the dead? They're continually living. They're not dead. See, we think of dead.
What? That doesn't make, if they're okay, look, if they're in graves, or if they're no longer biologically alive, then they are for a fact dead. That your argument makes no sense, lady.
Is the ending, it's not. So that was real eye-opening. And the other thing, the gift they gave me, was that I would prophesize things. Sometimes it will take longer. But if you give people comfort by saying, look, this is going to end, I don't want you to worry, or this is going to happen, and they can trust you, then it gives them more of a relax. So they know, if Linda.
I predicted we would have a PS5 long before, back when we were having PS3s. I said to everyone when I was around 14, I think 13, I said, look, we have PS3s now, but one day we'll have the PS5. And boom, 6 or 7 years later, boom, we have PS5s. Am I a prophet now? Am I a psychic now? If not, then predictions don't prove validity. Anybody can make a prediction. You can say anything using logic and reason to logically deduce that something could happen in the future. Sometimes you'll be right, sometimes you'll be wrong, but nevertheless, everyone can do it. So it's not a unique ability.
Or any psychic can see into the future, it gives me peace. That's the purpose. But they don't like us walking around prophesizing all the time either.
No, because most of the time when you go around saying, oh, I'm a prophet, I can tell you all these things, come to me, my word is law, we are going to call you a liar and a scam artist, because the people can think for themselves. And it's long been understood that anyone can make a prediction, and just because you're right doesn't mean you did anything special. You have a brain just like anybody else. The brain can think, the brain can predict.
They want us to live in the moment. That's my Eckhart Tolle, who I love, my master. They want us to be in the present, because in the present you're connected with universal consciousness. And if we can.
Yes, because yes, there is such a thing as consciousness in science, which has entirely to do with how the brain functions. But what you're trying to talk to consciousness goes outside of what physics explains, because you're delving into supernatural crap, which science doesn't give any credence to, just for the record.
Could all be present and think in terms of the Big Bang and the wonderfulness that's out there. energetically things will change. We're going through something right now that was prophesized that's supposed to happen, and don't worry, we'll be stronger and better for it.
Okay, entirely baseless and without any actual scientific evidence, but okay.
Thank you for sharing part of your story. I know there's also much more to it. And to me, I feel like the metaphysical view is really helping me understand the world and this life much better. Otherwise, it would just be chaos to me. Like when you're saying, it was supposed to happen, there's a deeper meaning behind it. That makes me calm. And I think that's really helpful. And I would love to.
Yeah, but lady, you're just assuming that she's actually telling you the truth, which is dangerous, because if she can't prove what she's saying to be true because there's no evidence and she's just saying in the future, you risk getting scammed.
To go into the current events of this world, because I saw you actually
Hello, Miss
predict a
Independent.
war that's going on right now as we're recording. But before we do that, to get to know you a bit better, like this voice, you said he, is it someone you knew, or is it, who is it?
I have no idea.
Okay, if you have no idea who this supposed man was, how do you know he was real in the first place? And even if he was real, how do we know that he actually said that to you? None of this can be proven.
I see 3 entities or beings or angels, whatever you want to call them, that stand around me. And you know what they look like? They look like, did you ever see that movie Ron Howard did called Cocoon?
No.
So these beings, these UFO beings, are in this big
UFO beings. Okay, first of all, you said it was a man originally that told you that death didn't exist, that you're going to start a YouTube channel. Now you're saying 3 beings, 3 UFO beings are always surrounding you, and you're trying to use a movie reference to describe what they look like? Sounds a little bit like a scam.
Cocoon, and they pull them out of the ETs come and they dress up like humans, and they bring these things.
Oh, so they're aliens that disguise themselves as human beings and walk around telling us, trying to pretend to be amongst us. So this isn't divine; these are aliens.
Things out to help remove them and take them back, and then somehow or the other, when the cocoon got opened, the beings are total light. They're just energetic light. That's what I see.
You see cocooned UFO people that when they emerge from these cocoons, they become just pure energy. Wow.
See a form, almost like a man form, but in light.
Interesting.
And he talks to me through my mind. There's no audible.
He talks to you through your mind, but is not audible. So is it that he talks to you, or is it you can't hear him? Because those mean 2 different things.
But the words are very clear. He might as well be standing there whispering in my ear. And I trust him. I trust what he has to say. Sometimes I get huge hits, just huge that I know. And then sometimes I'm on the fence. I'm not quite sure.
So what you basically confirmed to all of us is that you have people talking in your head.
And from what I understand, you have a Native American or Native American ancestors. And from very early on, you were pointed out to the girl who had the 3rd eye. So it seems like you have had, by your mother. So it seems like you've had these abilities ever since you were a child, and they then amplified also later on.
I always saw angelic presence. So when I do read,
so this is the problem I have with this crap. She's making up all these ridiculous claims that really, when you listen to it's not coherent. First, she said she had a cancer diagnosis. She was deathly afraid of cancer. Then she said a man told her that she knows death isn't real, and that she's going to start a YouTube channel. Then she says that she doesn't know who the man was. Then we hear her say that 3 beings are standing around her all the time, and these beings are actually UFOs that come from cocoons and form out of pure energy. And now she's saying she has people talking in her brain.
Back when I did reading, people always say, "Who's my guys?" Like you're supposed to say a name, Ralph, Fred, whatever. And I never saw that. I always saw light beings, and they're very hard to define as far as what their life was.
But you said but you used a movie reference to describe what they look like, and you said they come out of cocoons.
Of course, sometimes I would get a hit, like I would see an Egyptian person, and this is past life related, but I'm not a past life.
Now they have a nationality. I thought they were just pure energy
specialist or a guide specialist. I can just tell you that everybody is not alone. Everybody has someone there. Everybody is being favored by the realm, as long as you can keep your...
What realm? We don't know anything about a realm. You have to explain to us what this realm is.
Your heart open and allow them to work through you. It's those prejudices and judging. That's really bad for you. The worst sin you can commit.
You can't help but judge. Everybody judges. Everyone forms an opinion because your human brain is literally wired to formulate opinions based upon your perception of how things are going. I mean, there's nothing wrong with judging things. In fact, that's what critical thinkers do. So you're essentially telling anybody who critically thinks that it's a bad thing to do, to judge other things. As Mr. Judge, I say no.
In terms of Catholic
language,
on this earth is taking the free will from others.
Hey, Saint, hope you're doing well.
And that's really bad. Over there on the other side, there's, I can't tell you.
What other side? We don't have any confirmation that there is another side. You're saying there is one, and the host earlier said that you send messages from the other side, but we haven't seen any evidence of the other side. So what other side? What's there? These are things that you're just assuming that we believe in your beliefs. Prove there's another side, then we'll talk about what's on the other side.
There's a burning hell, but I can tell you there's a purgatory that you can get stuck in until you get it.
Okay, so where's your evidence for purgatory? How do you know that? Who have you seen personally stuck in this purgatory? Have you been there? All of these things, the host isn't asking, which we all should, because everybody can have their opinion on one way or the other of what happens after we die, but just understand it's not based on knowledge. It's not based on what you know. It's based on what you think. 2 entirely different concepts.
But when I was young, my mom took me to the tribe.
Hey, academic. Hey, nice to see you guys here.
Now, my mom was Comanche. I'm Comanche. I'm registered Comanche Native in Lawton, Oklahoma. She was born on her parents' house on the reservation. And she took me as a baby back to the tribe, and the medicine man saw me. And that's when he did the sign of the cross and said she has a third eye. Well, first of all,
the native religions are not Christian, so they wouldn't do the sign of a cross. They worship, from my understanding, the great spirits and ancestry worship, so they wouldn't do the sign of the cross. Second of all, you're saying this is all hearsay, because by your own logic, you were a baby when this happened, which meant you're just repeating what your mom or what someone else told you that your mom did. We can't confirm that.
Something interesting that I tell people, true Comanche would not do the sign of the cross because it was the white man that told us we had to believe in the cross. Do you see what I'm saying? True Comanche natives that dealt with the ancestors weren't thinking in terms of Catholicism, because my mom had Catholicism.
Okay, first of all, you're correct in that regard because they worshiped ancestors, not Christ. Second of all, again, this we don't know if this medicine man actually did that. And also that doing that cross sign is not merely Catholicism. Catholicism is just another different branch of Christianity. So, again, all hearsay.
Rammed down her throat. And so when her mom died in a Native American hospital, what is it called? I was an L&D nurse too. When your blood pressure goes through the roof, she was having her 7th child, and she and the baby died.
Just so you guys know, and I'm going to show this in the second half when the reaction is done. There's actually no way to confirm that she was a nurse. I did, for those of you guys who didn't see what I said in the beginning, I'm going to show you guys some documents my artificial intelligence from Gemini produced when I investigated this video, which is why I'm giving you my raw reaction here, but I'm also going to show you what the research unearthed when I actually saw this video.
In utero. And they had left her for so long that rigor mortis had set in. My mom never got over it. She was 12 years old. And then she had 7 kids, and they all got shipped off to a Native American orphanage. But it was run by Catholic nuns.
And we care why? And not to be disrespectful to your family or your history, man, but what does that have any relevance to anything?
And she just never forgave the church. She was so angry. She died in my home. And while she was dying, I said, Mom, do you want me to get a priest for you, to give less rites? She said, no. And
okay. Yeah, that doesn't prove that. How does this have anything to do with the third eye gift or the medicine man doing the supposed cross thing? I don't see how this has any relevance to anything.
I try to explain that. I think I did in the book. I know Christmas and stuff. She'd overdrink the fire.
Oh yeah, academic. Don't worry, man. I'm just giving you my live reaction here, and then I'm going to, once the video is done, I'm going to show all the areas that my Gemini did PDF files on this video, and then I'm going to give my just to role play as a judge a little bit, my judicial decree, just for kicks.
Water. I mean, Mom and Dad was really dirt poor. Oklahoma, he's a white guy with red hair and green eyes. And they had nothing, so they wanted us to have something. And they made a big deal out of it. We loved it. But Mom always had this sadness in her. It was this, all the sisters, there was this sadness, that.
You already established that when you told her that all 7 of her kids went to orphanages and she died hating the Catholic Church. You're not saying anything new.
They all tended to marry men that my dad was overbearing and ran the ship tight, She was always angry and sad. I don't think she really led a happy life because she didn't know how to let go.
Okay, everybody handles grief and other things different like that. Not everyone is just capable of just letting go. Some people remain angry their entire lives. Some people move on like nothing happened, but this has no relevance to anything.
She didn't know how to forgive.
And she was a psychic too, right? And maybe didn't get to express her abilities like you're doing now, which gives happiness to express who you are.
Well, she had my dad, who was bah humbug. I used to go out in the city and have limousines pick me up. I was in nursing school, and they would pick me up, a bunch of guys hairdressers and stuff in San Francisco. I read some politicians and rock star.
What does any of this have to do with you supposedly revealing, anyone disappearing from power? Which is not true, by the way, because my crap will show that that's all bogus anyway. But the point is that what what does this have to do with revealing who's disappearing from power?
Wives. And I would just go because I was having a good time. And I
Irrelevant
would do
mumbo
these
jumbo,
readings, and they
exactly.
were thrilled. And then
Exactly. Academic, freaking irrelevant mumbo jumbo.
and I'd bring home all this cash and lay it on the table, and I left it on the table deliberately because my dad, they couldn't believe the money I was making. And my dad would tell my mom, she can't get her own life together. What the hell is she doing telling other people?
We absolutely do not care about this interpersonal family melodrama, nor does it have any relevance to the supposed revealing of disappearing from power.
My parents were real bah humbug, but mom couldn't really express because dad was so anti. So, but mom would see spirits. One time she was laying in the bed. My brother's room was across from the master, and she thought it was me coming out of his room. She's thinking, what's Linda doing in there? And she had a burgundy robe on and dark hair like me. My hair was real black then. I took the native black, this is old lady black. She realized
It doesn't look black at all to me. It looks brown, but regardless, who cares?
that I wasn't walking, I was floating. And then she realized the robe I had on, or who she thought was me, was not the color robe that I owned. And then this entity took her right and went into my sister and I's bedroom. And let me tell you, I'm surprised she did it because she was such a chicken. She grabbed that 22 sitting next to her and went in our room ready to.
Okay. Ignoring that we can't prove any of this, what's that going to do exactly?
Shoot somebody. And there was nothing there. And listen, while dad was in the hospital, mom.
Right. Nothing there. And we can't confirm this ever happened. So continue with the hearsay.
Mom had died. Dad was at the VA. And I would run in that house and run out because there was so much energy. I didn't want to deal with it. Just stay away from me. So I had some ghost hunters said, hey, we'll come to your house. We'll check it out. So we set up in the garage with tables and computers, and they had walkie-talkies. And the guy was inside sitting on my dad's chair, and he was on camera.
See, this video is supposed to be about you being a psychic medium and explaining your powers and how you're supposed to be everything. And earlier you were actually on the right track because you were giving us some backstory. Now, none of it was really verified, and a lot of it contradictory, but at least we were staying on the supernatural claims. Now you're giving us this interpersonal family drama and personal ghost story, which doesn't have anything to do with the topic at hand.
And so we're all sitting there, and then we didn't even get started, and a woman yelled through the walkie-talkie, help me, help me, help me. And we all stood up, and the guy sitting in the living room ran, and he ran to the kitchen door because we were in the garage, and he opens the door and he goes, did you guys hear that? And we're all like, yeah. And we had it on tape. And then all of a sudden there was boom, boom, boom on the wall. Like he's opened the kitchen door and he's yelling, and on the wall to his left, which was the wall between the kitchen and the garage, it was so loud you would have thought the wall.
Ignoring the fact that I'm pretty sure many of us have heard this story hundreds of times, this isn't even creative as far as ghost stories go. This is pretty generic.
What a burst. It was so scary. I packed my stuff. I said, y'all can I'm getting the hell out of here. But after Dad died, I never felt that anxiety anymore.
Okay. That wouldn't have established anything, and still doesn't establish anything. You're now trying to imply that your anxiety came from your dad, which doesn't make any sense.
Really weird. But I did a little ghost hunting, and I can't tell you, it's almost like when Jesus said, why do you look for the living amongst the dead? There are ghosts, there are spirits that are stuck here, but
okay, so there is death, which you first denied and then said, oh, well, it's physical death is real, but supernatural death isn't. Okay.
They have so many anxiety issues, and sometimes they can.
How can the dead have anxiety? Anxiety is a human living experience. If you're not alive anymore, you literally can't feel anything. Your brain is no longer functioning, and your brain is the center hub for all your psychological issues. If your brain is not functioning, you literally can't have anxiety, you can't feel pain, you can't have anything. The brain is what causes all of that.
Attach that it's, to me, because I have that ability, I'd rather just stay away.
And I want to jump to the current affairs because it's just we're in the midst of it as we're recording now. And then I saw on your YouTube channel that you actually predicted the attack on Iran before they
There
attacked.
was more than just me. There was other psychics that saw it.
Okay, she's not the only one who could have predicted that too. That doesn't prove anything. It's politics. Plenty of people who devote their entire lives to studying politics, and even if you aren't at this day and age, can look at something and accurately predict, hey, these countries are becoming hostile. They look like they're gearing for an attack. I suspect they're an attack. Like back in February of 2022, you could have very accurately said, I predict that Ukraine is going to be attacked by Russia based solely on the fact that they kept sending their troops there, and they wouldn't. Even though Russia kept saying, no, we're not invading, all the way up until they crossed Ukrainians' borders, somebody could have just sat there and said, yeah, they're going to attack. It doesn't make them psychic. It doesn't make them, super intelligent. It's just a rational, pragmatic, suggestion based on realistic factors such as national hostility, troop movements, etc. All of this is rational and logic, not supernatural psychic power.
Okay,
The
yeah.
stock market has dropped 948 points.
So
Guys, that was going to happen too.
I'd like the winning lotteries too. Not only would I like the winning lottery numbers, I want to know the next winning lottery for the next 20 years. That way, I'm just going to keep winning and winning and winning, and I don't care how much money I lose. I'll just win the next lottery.
The stock market just dropped 948 points. Gas is going through the roof. What did I say? If you watch that show, I said this war was going to happen and it's going to create such chaos. This is part of the reason people will be tossing the current president out, is because of the chaos that it's going to cause. And
first of all, the United States isn't really technically in a war. I understand why a lot of people think that, and it's true from the Iranian side and maybe even the Israeli side. They definitely have the mindset that they're at war. But the U.S. attitude is not necessarily that this is war, it's conflict, and it's a minor conflict at that. So, I mean, the American people, some of us have our opinions of it, some of us don't. Some of us support what Trump's doing, some of us do not support what Trump's doing. Some of us think it's great that the Iranian military leader was killed. Some of us think it was terrible. But the overall majority opinion is indifference. But she wants you to believe that the American people are going to oust Trump as a result. And look, he's still here even today. And he's going to be until the end of his term. There are legal things that have to happen in order for Trump. And we've tried to remove it before back when he was president in 2016. It didn't work. And she just wants us to believe he's just going to be ousted because he's involved in a conflict with Iran. Okay.
The absolute devastation financially.
And some are saying now on YouTube, is this going to become World War III? Because it's chaos in the whole Middle East now. But you actually say no, it's not going to be that bad.
Let me tell you, I can understand why they think it. It is almost like a World War III. But, I get hits from the ETs on occasion.
The ETs? Oh, no.
And I've had a lot of in-depth talks with professionals who deal with the ETs. They are not interested in any kind of nuke. They will prevent that from happening. And let me tell you a hit I got.
I don't know who she means by ETs, but the only thing I can say is I actually agree with her that this isn't going to be World War III, but it doesn't. But I would say it doesn't look like World War III because it looks pretty much like the opinion I have of the matter is just simply Iran can't do a lot of things against what America and Israel do, and we're taking full advantage of that. That's the way I look at it. It's subjective, but that's the way I look at it. I don't see it as the beginning of World War III.
I think I said it on the show. If I didn't, I'll be saying it on the next show. I saw Netanyahu's being so upset because they're blowing up Israel. I saw him saying, let's throw a nuke. Let's go ahead and throw a nuke. And he may attempt it or he's thinking it, but I saw it.
If you're referring to Trump, then no, because absolutely nobody is considering throwing a nuke anywhere. We say it all the time. We always say it. Oh, there's going to be a nuclear apocalypse. Oh, let's throw a nuke at this country. What have you? People even jokingly say, let's nuke China or China nuke America. We always joke about that thing. But nobody is ever really serious when it comes to that because the way it currently stands, any nuclear type of attack is mutually guaranteed destruction on both you and your enemies, and everybody knows it. So there's never, unless something gets truly desperate, like let's say this is unrealistic, but let's say you had a country that has nuclear power, it's being invaded by another rival country, and it's in its last stages of being around before it falls. Theoretically, somebody could say, okay, before we go, we're going to make sure everyone else goes with us, theoretically. But, even in that theoretical scenario, there's no really telling if that would actually happen or not. But that's the only realistic scenario I could see a nuke ever being actually dropped. And even then, it's very limited in possibility.
Going against him, so it may implode before he even gets it out the door. But I didn't see him being able to do it because the ET said, you have free will. You do what you want.
Oh, ETs, extraterrestrials. Okay, well, the U.S. or any country for that matter does not recognize extraterrestrials, ma'am. Therefore, we don't defer to their judgment.
But if you're going to use a nuke, then we step in because it upsets the energy throughout all of the universe.
Throughout all of the universe. So all of the universe knows of earthly politics. They all know that if we nuke ourselves on Earth, the entire universe is going to know about it, and they're going to become upset because it disrupts them. That's the narrative. Okay. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Wow, that bad, huh?
Yeah. Look what they're doing. They're setting up things, bombing in Saudi Arabia, doing this and that, and then blaming it on Iran. And it's not Iran that did it, but they want them to be in trouble. This is how they always rolled. Let me tell you something. The way Israel...
Guys, this is exactly why you don't mix supernatural beliefs with politics, because it sounds just as nutty as this. Have your spiritual beliefs, believe in whatever you want, but this is why certain things should not be mixed together. Just like lemon and milk.
Israel always rolled. It's not the Israelis, because there's good Israeli people that don't want Netanyahu and are really begging him. Let's have trials about this October 7th thing, because things aren't panning out the way you said. And he's busy running. And what I'm seeing, he's going. I can tell you right now, he's going. A peace will come over Israel like you won't believe. It's going to be kind of like spiritually advanced. They're going to get even higher. And the same thing with the United States. Trump is blowing it. People are like, and there are more than 6 people that have been.
So there's just going to be a peace. You're not going to explain how the peaceful resolutions will happen. You're not going to tell us how your psychological powers showed the peace talks that will happen months in advance or years in advance from now. It's just going to be a peace. One day, a big, bright, beautiful rainbow is just going to shine on all of us, and we're going to say, what were we even mad about? Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Killed over there. And when we get the numbers, it's like, how dare you send our men and women over there while your family's sitting fat on the hog, and you're going to tell us what, like you own us?
Ma'am, he's commander in chief of the entire military. So literally part of his position in office is to literally tell men and women, you're going to go off and fight. Now, he doesn't declare war, and he still has to, he doesn't have absolute authority in matters of war, but he does as commander in chief. No one outranks him. So literally the position of president is to tell people when there's an actual conflict or war, this is where you're going to go. This is what's going to happen. His family and whatever they're doing, whatever, has no relevance to that position. They're just trying to fluff up the emotional appeal of it, but that's not going to be the argument. And it's also not going to be enough to say you're out because you're not charging the front lines.
They're already within because there's a lot of people that write me who are military. There's a lot of people already talking about, as soon as we get out of here, we're not coming back. They don't want to be in this. They didn't sign up for this. There's no actual outcome or something that they're saying, this is what we're looking at. They didn't really do anything. Yeah, they talk trash, and we've been back and forth with terrorist action, but they need more than what they're saying, and it just doesn't make sense. He just thinks he can do
this whole argument doesn't make sense.
Things just because. I think he thought this might prevent him from being voted out, but it won't. He's still going.
How are we going to vote him out? I mean, the only thing, ma'am, do you understand that in order to vote out the president, which is impeachment, we have to first draft articles for why he needs to be impeached. The House has to vote for it. Then the House has to go to the Senate. The Senate has to then hold a trial for him. And then the Senate has to both choose if they're going to indict him and or otherwise vote him out. And they've tried this twice, and it still didn't work. So unless you can tell us exactly where these articles are going to come by and confirm to us that they'll be voted positively and it'll pass from both the House and the Senate, Trump's not getting voted out, no matter what he does with Iran.
If he lives that long.
You mean that he won't be elected again, or that
he can't be elected again. Literally, he's been elected twice. Presidents are constitutionally limited to just only 2 terms. Now, he could hypothetically, Trump could decide to become governor or mayor or maybe even a senator if he still wanted to have a political career after this, but he can't become president again regardless. That's a given.
He thinks he can be elected. No, he thinks he can stop the midterms and all that. He's not going to be able to stop nothing. There is a wave. This is what I see. A wave. You think the No Kings marches were big? Wait till March, the end of this month, when more No Kings are coming up. And wait what this kind of...
Okay. I want to let anybody who's listening to me right now, either right now during this live or later on when you're watching this, could anybody... pay attention to the date. They made this video a couple of days ago. It's March 28th. Please make sure to let me know if you guys ever see anything past March that's going to be bigger than the No Kings March, which effectively did nothing.
900, a drop of almost 1,000 happens, and people are just, even the rich ones will be mad. It's just like with Netanyahu, the people around him are not, they're losing everything. And they're like, wait, dude, what are you doing? So they're all going, Putin's going too. Did you see how much our Zelensky has taken back? More country than he had before. And the United States, J.D. Vance asked him, can you help us with... He said, sure. He said, I'll help you, but it can't interfere with our war. But
ma'am, even if he starts turning the tide, you do understand that the most that Zelensky can hope to do is retake back as much territory as he can and then negotiate a peace deal with Russia. He can't march on Moscow or do anything to oust Russia from power. Ukraine doesn't have the manpower. The only way that could be possible is if the other allies, like the United States, NATO, whatever, agree to send troops to bolster their bolster their current manpower shortages, and then that would be what you would call World War III, which you're denying will happen in the first place.
I'm hoping, but he's a good man. He's a really good man. But I'm hoping he says, sure, I'll help you, and do like Trump doesn't help them, which is helping us.
So do you see a time frame to perhaps an end to we have the Middle East and then we have Russia and Ukraine. Do you see like these wars ending soon?
Well, by the end of this year, and I predict this in my 2026.
You're literally going to claim that the Ukraine war and the war against Iran and, I don't know if the Gaza Strip is still happening, but regardless, you're saying these wars are going to end by 2026. Okay. Let's put a mark on that. Let's remember that. She said it was going to be by the end of 2026 is when these wars are going to end.
I actually see all three of them gone. Trump, Putin, and Netanyahu gone. Not
even if they were gone, that wouldn't necessarily mean the war is gone, and you can't. There is no way that they're all three are just going to systematically or simultaneously be gone by the end of 2026. I'm calling BS on that right now.
Necessarily dead, just gone. So
interesting.
And I also see this particular fight that I'm not going to call WAR, because I don't think it is. I think it's a bunch of crazy people trying to be big bullies. But anyway, I see this kind of ending as fast as it started. So let's see. I got the 8 of Wands, and the 8 of Wands is swift. It's almost like someone says, okay, I'm done. It could be Israel saying, okay, I'm done. Or maybe Putin gets taken, not Putin, Netanyahu gets taken out, and they're like, let's go to the
taken out. So I thought earlier you said that you didn't imagine them they're necessarily going to die. They're just going to be gone. Now you're saying Netanyahu is going to be taken out. Okay.
Table, let's work. Because I'll tell you, Iran, believe it or not, as much as they're saying, no, you started this.
I know. She's just, I appreciate the fact the host is asking certain questions that are right. She's asking what time frame and what have you, which I do appreciate, because that puts her on, that makes her have to pinpoint a time. But at the same time, she's not giving a lot of pushback as she should, because she's not vetting her. She just already assumes she's a psychic medium, already assumes that everything she's talking about supernaturally is true, already assumes that everything she's talking about is going to be based on empiricized fact because she says so. That's what I don't like. If I had been interviewing this lady, I would have been asking precise questions. I would have been like, how, why, when, and how do we know this? These are the questions. These are the W questions that need to be asked.
Will stand back and work if Trump, because they can't trust Trump. They can't work with him. But once those guys are out of the picture, they'll work with anyone else that's there.
Yeah, because what we were hoping for is that Iran will have a much better system.
That's going to happen.
Oh, well, I mean, what makes you think that? I mean, all they've done is essentially they've created a de facto leadership that will just be another supreme leader who's going to continue to run the Islamic State, which is a state religion, which means civil liberties will be suppressed. People will have to will be denied the liberty of having diverse opinions on faith, which is what it was like before the previous supreme leader was assassinated. And now you're just saying, oh, there'll be a better system. Based on what? How? Why? There's already a new supreme leader.
They may end up taking out other people, but I saw a woman.
Exactly. What the hell?
I saw a woman. So it might not happen this year or next year, but I see a democracy the way it used to be in the 70s. I know a lot of people in the 70s from Iran. One of my girlfriends was married to a wonderful Iranian man, and she used to have a ball going back to Iran to visit the family. And he could cook the best steak and onion with this.
None of us care about this, though.
This this mix anyway. But yeah, they're going to be able to come to a peaceful agreement.
Exactly. So, I mean, the political reality of the situation is it doesn't matter who you take out. If the law remains the same, then there are going to be people who keep enforcing that law. The only time societies truly change is when those laws have been changed, because at that point, it doesn't matter who you are, what you say, or what your position is. The law is. I know as many people who fought in whatchamacallit, and these ladies have absolutely no clue. Pretty much. I mean, they're just talking nonsense. Remember, she was talking about ETs. ETs, which are extraterrestrials, have decided we're not going to let us use our own nuclear weapons because it'll disrupt the universe. That's what she said earlier.
This is the enlightenment of who we are right now. If you're too afraid, give it to the realm and tell them, into thy hands I commence my spirit. And ask, if you can't watch the news, don't watch it. It doesn't mean you're putting your head in the ground. It means vibrationally, you need to stay at a certain wavelength to create.
There they go with the vibration shit. I look, again, I don't mean to step on anybody's beliefs, but that vibration crap literally, as a scientific minded person, I have the great urge to just say phooey when people tell me all this vibration crap. Your vibrations aren't doing anything. The vibration doesn't mean anything. You try to establish some sort of spiritualness, but vibration is just a physical reaction to cause and effect. It's not anything special, and it doesn't tell you anything.
What you want. When Eckhart Tolle talks about the Tao, he says take a deep
25
breath
years
and breathe it out 3 times every day. And I did that when I
25 years, and they want us to believe that it's just going to magically go away because they say so. And remember, they said by 2026 and the end of March. Well, they said the end of March is when, I forget what they said about the end of March, but I do remember she did claim that Putin, Trump, and that other person is all going to be gone by the end of 2026. We're going to vote Trump out of office, apparently. That's her words.
I started reading him back with cancer. And he said, you'll notice the switch. And it took about 6 months. Every day, not at a particular time, not or kind of a meditation. I took my deep breath. What happens every time you do that is you are conscious. You know, we walk around unconscious, but you're conscious. So
how are we going to walk around and we're not conscious of our surroundings or what we're doing? The fact I can look at you and say, hey, you're a woman with a brown and black t-shirt with a necklace, eyeglasses, a silver YouTube plaque on the background surrounded by all these knickknacks. These are things I can notice because I'm conscious. If I was unconscious, I wouldn't even know how to click on my YouTube video. I wouldn't know how to do a live. I wouldn't do anything because I would be, by definition, unconscious.
Additionally, you set yourself up higher. And then you work your way a little higher. So what happens is, and this is the honest gosh truth, you manifest much faster. You almost have to be careful what you think because you'll manifest so fast.
Okay, I manifest a giant. I manifest a limo with a jacuzzi and surround sound systems right outside my front yard. Bing. If I go outside and check, is there going to be a limo with a jacuzzi and all those other stuff that I just said? If not, then clearly nothing I mentally think is going to conceptualize in reality.
Now, you can't do anything to others, human beings, but you can manifest well-being. You can manifest. Look what happened to me. I had an automatic healing.
That you claim, we can't confirm that. In modern medicine, especially my reports that I'm going to show everyone, shows that's most likely false. But ignoring that for a moment, it's like your argument is I have to be careful of what I think because I can manifest things with my mind. If that's true, why can't I manifest golden bars? Why can't we all just imagine we manifest millions of dollars just entering our bank accounts? anything that we can actually use. But no, we can manifest things that we never physically see, that we never physically use.
That was physical because you could smell the earth. I mean, that was a physical, spontaneous heat.
I agree, it is. And that's exactly why I did this video.
But people get so caught up in their own thoughts. I always tell people, get out of your own way. You just keep overthinking it. You'll think they're kind of going where they're kind of making it, and then, oh, my sister-in-law, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, don't get caught up in those minute things that'll kick you back. Keep going. Whatever her deal is, that's her deal. You don't have to worry about it. So that which is likened to itself is drawn. So if you want to create something, you have to be a vibrational match to it. And in order to get there, you have to allow the realm to help you. A lot of people.
What realm? Who are you talking about? I'm so confused, because before it was, a man told you in your ear that you can heal, that death is not a real thing, and that you're going to start a YouTube channel. Then it was these 3 celestial beings that are not, that you later said are ETs, that are UFOs. And then you're talking about how some people wanted to nuke Iran or nuke something, and you said that ETs wouldn't allow it, and because it would disrupt the whole universe. And then somewhere in between there, you talked about cocooned energy beings. Now you want us to just believe. Now you're going back to the instant healing as if it's a fact that happened to you.
People don't even realize it. Ask for help. Ask for what you need, and then wait for it. Because like I did when they said, what are you doing? There's no such thing as death. I accepted death. I said, fair enough. I accept it.
You accept what you're denying exists in the first place?
If you think I should die, I'll die. Whatever you want, because I believe in you. Into thy hands I commend my spirit, and then boom.
Yes, the ETs are not pleased with us. They've sent us many disencouraging memos, and they're getting more angry, academic. I think they might visit us soon. This is the nonsense of it all, and this is from a supposed psychiatric medium. And then she wants, and the funny thing is, when she did this video, you'd think because it's a psychiatric medium, she's going to talk about the spirit realm, but she's going all over the place, talking about a spiritual realm, then aliens and all this other things. And it's just incredible. The delusion is incredible.
But maybe it won't happen to everybody. Some people, I know they said that Jesus, when he would be healing people, he told one of his disciples, there's some people that came here with something they were supposed to die with. It's a karma. I can't heal those people, but I can heal them.
People were supposed to come to the earth and die from a karma before anything ever happened. That doesn't make any... You understand that would literally imply that I'm going to be born with a name tag that says, I don't heal me because I'm guilty of something and I'm born to die for it. That makes no sense.
Others. So if you came here with something, maybe you were a king and you sliced off people's heads, or there's some sort of karma you're supposed to go through. I know in my life I went through hell. And I remember one day I finally said, this is before I got enlightened, so to speak. I said, look, whatever I did in my past life, please forgive me. I'm done with this.
How do we know there was a past life? How do we know that you were reincarnated? Now you're bringing Buddhism into this crap.
Just let me move forward. And then things started to happen.
Hey guys, I want to jump in here to give my thanks for being part of the Wisdom from North community. Your support and engagement.
And now we're getting a custom ad from the host. During the live stream, she's giving an ad. Her own custom-made ad.
It means the world to us. We put so much passion, so much love into these episodes, and my intention is really to be part.
Yeah, but you don't do any research. That's the problem.
Of this great shift of consciousness, to do what I can do with this channel to help people expand their consciousness, love themselves more, follow their purpose, and shine their light.
That's cultist as shit. I'm sorry, but that's cultist as shit. You're telling... Look at that. Look at that smile. Look at those eyes just staring at you. Join the cult. Join us. Join the collective. And it's like, dude, first of all, you're interviewing a lady who's making so many outlandish claims that anybody who's actually paying attention would call her out on and ask questions, and you're just accepting it and agreeing, bobbing your head and moving on. And now you're talking about how you want people to love themselves more and get them to open up their consciousness. This is cultist. This is cultist thinking. This is cultist recruiting.
So if you haven't yet subscribed, I would love for you to do so. Thank you so much. You'll find the link somewhere here below. And now,
right, because they have exactly. Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. They do have a very oddball relationship, because she's just mixed up. Because Independent, if you look back earlier, she was doing all types of stuff, from ETs, UFOs, mixing Jesus in the middle, and now what did I do in a past life, and all this other stuff, and instant healing, like all of, all of that, all of that, just points to this cultist like personality that they're trying to mix everything together to get so many different belief systems in there, so you'll wind up joining the cult. And yes, it does. It does, academic. It does.
Let's go back to the episode. That does make sense, though, that I think some things are destined. And
what makes sense? Tell me anything that she said in the last hour makes any sense, because I haven't found it.
Speaking about destiny, with everything's happening right now, do you see that as destiny, or that we made some choices?
Not only is it crazy that there's no such thing as hell, academic, but also, I mean, as death, but death is also supposedly something she accepted. Soon you hear word psychic medium, we are done. Exactly.
Out of our free will that made these things happen. Like, I'm curious about destiny and free will and how it go together. How some are saying that these things needs to happen because everything is coming up in the light. And I get that, but it's also difficult to watch gruesome things happening. Like,
well, that's subjective. People aren't all sensitive like you. Some people can look upon things and be on certain things and say, okay, I don't care about that. Others could look at other things and they say that bothers the hell out of me. You don't know. Don't put us all in your collective, ma'am. We're not all sensitive or on the same subjects as you.
Couldn't we awaken in a more pleasant way?
Right, but remember, those people that died made the agreement they would die in this lifetime for that.
Right, and they want you to believe that there's no such thing as true death, according to this logic. That death, they contradicted themselves and said, no, there's physical death, but there's no spiritual death. Okay,
they're martyrs, so to speak. But some of it is free. Well, a lot of it's free will. You can change the destiny if you decide to go another direction. But I remember when he got back in office, and by the way, he cheated to get back in office.
Yeah, unestablished claim, but go on.
I just said, why? And they said man has free will. That's what they said to me.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because cancer is a real thing, and she's right here trying to portray it as she was just instantly healed from it.
But why? I said, man has free will. So a lot of people, Elon Musk helped him take a whole bunch of votes. What they're finding out down the road, he might not be here anymore.
Facts, Independent, facts, straight up hallucination. Thank you. That's what I was saying from the very beginning. Thank you.
They will be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he didn't win. But
you're talking about Elon or Trump?
Trump, he didn't win.
But Trump did win. We unfortunately, and I'm not saying to like Trump. I don't like Trump either. I think he's a traitor in a lot of ways, but nevertheless, in terms of elections, he has won, and it was certified in both cases. And in every time they said no, it was Russian hacking. No, it was this, it was that. We had years of investigation. None of it produced any actual evidence. You know, you got to get over your hatred of someone and not let it blind you to the realities of what it is. Do we like the fact that he won? Probably not, but the fact still remains that he won. And claiming that he cheated, bring the evidence or go away. That's my attitude.
But you see, he's burying himself. He's so involved with his own ego. You know, oh, all these men died.
Yeah, basically, she experienced a lot of trauma and now she's cray-cray. And yeah, she's trying to say something didn't happen that actually happened. Exactly.
What do you think? Oh, everybody's just trying to make Trump look bad. See how it isn't about the poor soldiers that passed away? It's about Trump. That's how they.
So what? I mean, soldiers passing away is a tragedy. I get that. But what does that have to do with whether he won the election fairly or not?
Roll. It's always about him. Oh, they're falling. And let me tell you that Kristi Noem's getting ready to get kicked out.
Exactly, independent. And she says, "Oh, don't let me die. Please don't let me die." Suddenly somebody supposedly told her, "Oh, don't worry. Death isn't real." And then instantly she was healed. That's the narrative that we were fed.
In fact, my word is Trump's already talking to everybody about how he can get her out. Living high on the hog and taking millions of dollars from the United States taxpayers, and then having that boyfriend of hers write her and saying that we're going on the F-mobile, which is the plane that has the bedroom. They brought that up in front of everybody. And it's like, yeah, that girl's gone down.
Is there sometimes when your predictions are not panning out? How do you deal with that if that happens?
Like, well, I always saw Bezos winning. You know,
she literally was asked, how does she handle you can't. She was literally asked a direct question of what do you do in the she asked two things. First thing she asked was, what happened? Does your prediction sometimes not pan out? And also, what do you do when that happens? And now she just says, well, I saw Bezos winning. That didn't answer the question.
Bezos?
No.
From Texas? No. He'd always lose. He lost against, that was one prediction that I could have swore. I also could have swore that Trump wasn't going to win. I swore that Harris was going to win. Well, she did, but, you know.
And you were wrong, which doesn't answer the question of how do you, it proves that your predictions aren't as accurate as you like to think they are, but it didn't answer the question of what you do when you found out that you're wrong.
Then another timeline that you saw, perhaps?
Bezos was back a few years ago.
She does.
I predicted that COVID a year before it happened. I was talking to everybody and I was...
Okay, you never answered the question, though. The question was, do your predictions sometimes not pan out? And what do you do when that happens? And you haven't answered that question.
Telling them my predictions, and then the guys interrupted me and said, it's going to be a really nasty virus coming out. And I said, oh, okay. And I told everybody.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Independence, and I imagine it does. What I think most of us who have never had cancer would agree that one of our biggest fears is ever being told that we have cancer one day. And I'm glad you survived it. I'm sorry you had to go through it, and I'm sorry you have to listen to lunatics like this making false claims about it.
And they said everybody will be wearing masks. And I said, okay. And I said, everybody, there's a real nasty virus coming out, and everybody's going to be wearing masks. And then I proceeded on.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Right. Radiation will never give us superpowers. And also, you're right, man. I've heard that the radiation therapy that they give you, to the chemotherapy, oh man, that takes a heavy toll on people.
It's on film. It's in August of, I can't remember the year, but it was a year before.
And speaking of that, things are coming out in the light. Have you seen with your gifts that the virus was created by man?
Yeah.
What virus are they talking? Wait, I'm confused. What virus are they talking about? Are you talking about the 2019 pandemic? Because that came from bats, not humans.
That happened in China. Right?
For ill intent.
Yeah. In fact, they had a newspaper ad in China to come work. What was the name of it at that time? To come and work on this virus, and then right after that, that was. But it was all part of the plan. It's terrible as it is. It was all part of the plan.
What virus are they talking about? I don't understand. What virus? Because a virus is a general term for a lot of things. Are you talking about a biological virus? Are you talking about a chemical virus? What virus are you talking about, and how do you know it was man-made? Exactly, and that's good. Always the mind, Miss Independent, I will tell you this: the mind is the most precious gift humans can never have, and that's why it must be guarded, it must be refined, it must never be taken for granted. So good on you to say that, to never become, to never lose your mind, because that is the one true freedom we all have, and we must always. The hallucinations have a human form and usually male. Yeah, that is interesting. I should actually do a case study on to why that usually is the case. My theory would be that it's because that's what people, how you perceive a person to be nearby you or who you'd most likely listen to would be why, like a result of your psychosis. But I should definitely look into that.
What plan is that?
Well, it helped ruin Trump. Well, didn't ruin him.
Trump is the president, though. And even when we all thought he was going to be indicted and sent to prison for, the Stormy Daniels file, hush money payments and all that stuff, he still won the election after becoming a felon. So Trump, and he still owns his billion-dollar industry. So what's ruined Trump? I'm confused.
Enough, though. He got back in. People soon forgot. And can you believe he got back in because... Well, he cheated, but
yeah, they are.
He got people rallying.
They are, because here's what really really makes that dangerous, academic. Having beliefs is okay. Thinking that there was some supernatural reason for why you're still alive, okay, I wouldn't agree with you, but fine. But when you start trying to apply it as if A, it factually happened, and B, that it can apply to all other humans, you literally cause people to reject life-saving medicine because they think, why would I deal with these nasty, horrible pills or these nasty injections when I could just go the spiritual route and just be, poof, instantly healed, or taking these natural herbs and suddenly all my advanced diseases are gone. And in reality, that just makes people, It just makes people less likely to save themselves, and they don't live as long as they could have. All for their own greed and vindication. Yep.
Around him because he wanted to get rid of the illegals. The illegals. And then now they're killing American citizens. They're not killing just illegals.
Who's killing who? I'm confused. What is she talking about at this point? And you're probably right, academic. It probably is a rebellion combined with trauma.
And they're putting them in horrible places, in cages, and the poor children. And they just think that, oh, yeah, they want to be cruel and mean. And that's not how real humans roll. So he's all this negative. Look at what happened to Hitler. All this negative will just come back.
Hitler has nothing to do with the current predictions of our political climate. Hitler has been dead for over 100 years now. This has, oh my gosh.
Back on you. And he's slowly, if you look at him, he's getting physically pretty shook.
Now, do you see that there's a...
Well, that's why you should take pride in yourself, that you're functioning as good as you can, and you're here today for us. And I predicted at some point today I want food, exactly. You're now the prophet of food, Miss Independent. You're now the messiah of the grocery list.
Agenda of the light and agenda of the dark, and if it is so, is the light winning?
Yes. You always have to believe that. Look at everything that's happened. Eckhart Tolle.
I don't have to believe anything. See, I'm going to say, and this is where the truly atheistic skeptic side of me, You don't have to believe it. Society tries to make you think you always have to have beliefs. People like these two try to make it seem like you always have to have belief, but you can't, but you don't have to. You can live perfectly normal, perfectly good, and be just as logically coherent as anybody else to say, I stand here and I don't believe in nothing. I don't have faith in nothing. I'm always skeptical. I live that life. I am always, and I'm never shy away from it. I don't believe in no gods, demons, devils, supernatural. I don't believe in none of it. You ever come to me with it, I'm going to listen to you, and then I'm going to immediately tell you I don't believe you. And I'm going to explain why I don't believe you. And does that upset a lot of people? Sure. Does everybody respect that position? No. Do I get a lot of opposition for it? Yes. But it's a life you can choose to live. You're not required to believe in something to be normal.
He talks about it. You know, we love resistance. Before, in the beginning of time, it was religion against religion, color against color. Look at how awful the Civil War was. We always are in a state of resistance, and if we could just finally lay down the sword and be with our brothers.
If we're always in a state of resistance, why have dictators been able to use death squads and rally supporters and you know, have entire legions of military loyal exclusively to them? There's entire regimes who literally systematically prevent people from being rebellious, to resist the idea that they should go against what the state wants. So no, all of humanity is not always in a state of rebellion.
But the light always outshines the dark. Now, a couple of times in my life, I know one time I read a man that was total evil. I could smell it. I could taste it. I was supposed to do a reading for him, and I faked the reading. I acted like, oh, la, 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 la. And he seemed happy.
She is crazy. She is. And yeah, I imagine it is. And she is crazy.
With the reading, and he leaves. And I told the girl that was there, I said, who was that guy? She said, oh, he's... But nobody really was hanging with him or knew him that well. Do you know, like a week later, he killed, I don't know how many people, 2 or 3 people. I could feel it. I could smell it. There's some people who are just...
You can feel and smell people killing other people? What?
Possessed with evil. Well, look at Trump. Nobody can stand his smell.
If no one can stand his smell, how come he's a billion-dollar industry owner who's been a twice elected president? Your characterization is contradictory to reality, ma'am.
But I'm curious then to go to the other realm, the other side, which you are so connected to. So do you think that they chose that before they went down here and incarnated? Is it karma? Is it free will? Like, why would a soul choose to be dark?
There's some people that were worshipers of the dark, and they come here and they can be given another chance, but some of them...
What religion worships the dark? I'm curious. Who has said we now believe the darkness is our Lord and Master? Who says that? You know, people always try to say, oh, there's the evil ones, there's the good ones, but you know, we don't ever see these supposed bad people. We don't ever see these supposed worshipers of the dark. They're always talked about. They're always used to, this is why you shouldn't be it. This is why you need to choose the light side, but we never see them. We never hear from them. And a lot of times when they try to categorize them as evil, it's miscategorization, if anything else.
Go back into that. But this is an interesting dream I had when I was in Laguna Beach. Now, mind you, I had no
need a wellness check.
Christian background. You know, I knew a little bit about the Bible. And I had a dream that Satan was in a room with me and a bunch of people, and we were all sitting on chairs. And they said, you better say the Lord's Prayer and mean every word of it, or the chair's going to go up and smack into the ceiling really hard. And so I put my head down and I started praying, and I could hear people scream. I could hear people's chairs go up, boom. And I concentrated on...
But it's a dream, so none of it ever actually happened. Therefore, why should we care? It's a dream.
Concentrated. And when I woke up, I was saying the Lord's Prayer out loud. But check this out. In consciousness, regular being awake, walking around, I didn't know the Lord's Prayer. But I knew...
She can't say COVID on YouTube? Wow.
Do it in that dream.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I know if you concentrate, I had a lot of dreams about encountering evil, and I'd have to stand my ground.
But this whole thing just was in a dream, though. You realize that's what you're saying. All of this happened while you were asleep. Dreams don't mean anything. That mean you never. So you never physically saw the devil. Then you never physically saw all these people in the chairs flying up. This is all happening within your own psychosis.
I helped a woman who lived in an apartment that something was attacking her, and you could see her feet were scraped and her hands. And me and another ghost hunter, so to speak, she had that thing that shows an energy form that was attacking, and we were throwing the holy water, we were throwing all kinds, and by the blood of Jesus Christ, I command you to stand down. And it would.
First off, it's not by the blood of Jesus Christ, it's in the name of Jesus Christ. If you're going to practice Christianity, at least do it right. Second of all, this is all within her own during her sleeping state, so she never actually did any of this.
Bounce down and come back up, bounce down and come back up. And we fought that thing. We had to go back several times. And I don't know if we fully got rid of it.
But you said it was a dream. Now you're trying to argue that it's not a dream? I'm confused.
Because they can be powerful.
Do you think that soul agreed to have that experience?
I think so. And it could have been someone from a life before that came back to haunt her.
Gosh, there's so much activity on the other side.
Yeah, because she can make up whatever she wants to say because there's no confirmation of another side, and therefore, because it's like a blank canvas. We have nothing to say there's anything there, so literally people like this lady can just take a brush and say, well, this is what it looks like here, and hosts like this are just going to flock to her and say, yes, you're absolutely right. Let's not question you. Let's not wonder if there's any truth to this. It's just, oh, yeah, you definitely saw this. You definitely did this because we're so desperate for answers. We'll take what anybody else says. No, thank you.
But don't forget, you can tell if you're feeling anything coming up against you, that might be evil.
Exactly, academic. I'm only worried about the side I'm living in, too. I'm worried about my bills. I'm worried about, my health. I'm worried about, my academic career. They don't pay your bills. Exactly. It don't pay your bills. It don't provide you shelter. It don't do anything. And as a matter of fact, guys, I want to take a side note to let you guys hear something. So many years ago, me and a friend of mine were actually on a platform, and we were speaking to a guy one time, this very elderly gentleman, and we were chatting on the panel, and we were talking. And we were talking to him, because I'm an atheist. My other friend is a agnostic theist, but he also was against religion. And the guy we were speaking to was a Hebrew Israelite. And while we were talking, my friend pulled a great move. He literally said to this person, he said, okay, listen, there's this drunk guy I know that constantly runs around drunk, shouting at cars or whatever. And I've seen him do it for years. And for whatever reason, he just hasn't been hit. And the Hebrew Israelite elder just said, oh, that dude has dark spirits in him. That's why he's acting all foolish like that. And then my friend pivots and does this brilliant move and says, yeah, but here's the thing. The dark spirits you're talking about are protecting him from harm. They're literally preventing him from getting hit by the cars. What is your light spirits doing? And that really got the guy in a knot because he couldn't ignore the fact that his supposed light spirits were doing nothing to prevent this guy from getting drunk, doing nothing from preventing him from doing it. But these supposed dark spirits were helping the drunk guy avoid getting hurt. So the argument my friend was making was, what is the point of following a religion that doesn't prevent you from getting harm versus doing things that literally prevent you from getting harmed? And the guy had no reaction to it. But that goes along with what you're saying, only concerned about the side that I'm living in. And that was my friend's entire point.
Well, you tell them they have no power there. And if you can say, I always say by the blood of Jesus Christ, because some guy that that was into worship.
Okay, but you have no blood of Jesus, and that's not how the prayer goes. When Christians are trying to combat demons or, make their homes purified, however they do it, my understanding has always been they say in the name of Jesus Christ, but you're saying by the blood of Jesus Christ, which makes no sense.
Worshiping the devil got out of it, and he said the sentence he would say that really helped was, by the blood of Jesus Christ, I command you to leave me now. You have no power here.
Yeah, I'm not looking at myself as a Christian, but I also go to Jesus if I feel darkness or if I'm afraid, and that just feels like
Okay, then you're following Christian beliefs even though you say you're not Christian, which is inconsistent.
it's working. And I've also done that in dreams when I've been lucid, meeting darkness and being protected by Jesus' light.
No kidding, I love it.
Okay, then you're a Christian then. You actually believe Jesus is real, and you actually believe Jesus is helping you when you're facing darkness. But then you're trying to say you're not a Christian. Contradictory.
Yeah. Or I have imagined myself being like a character in Lord of the Rings, thou shalt not pass. That works too.
Yeah, they all say something different. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, so I was wrong in that regard. Thank you guys for correcting me on that.
For me.
I could see the demon's face in a cloud. I had several. I keep my dream book, several dreams of this. And it was evil and ugly. And I stood there and I demanded that it, be gone. And then it would just.
Dude, your dreams, there's no actual demons in your dreams, though. Those dreams that you're having are a result of, they're a mix of personal experiences and can be influenced by anything from what you say to an argument to a dream to a bad experience, anything. So if you preconceptualize that you believe demons are real and they can do all of these things, it makes sense that you would dream and subsequently have a dream of an evil demon coming around because you've dreamt that up in your imagination already. You've already believed these things can happen. Therefore, when you go to sleep, you psychologically dream up these demons to go and do anything. And just like any psychological phenomenon, you are ultimately the one who conjured them up and you can dispel them. It's not like they're actual demons with physical existence that can interact in the physical world. This is all happening within the psychosis of a dream.
Turn to water and fall on the ground.
Interesting. And speaking of that power inside, could you?
Thank you for giving me that. Thanks for explaining that, Miss Independent. This is why I love having an audience and whatever, because I'm not the most knowledgeable person on the earth. I like to be Socrates and say the only thing I know is that I know nothing, and therefore I love being corrected. So thank you.
Speak a bit about that, how much power we actually have as humans that we might not be aware of, and the power to create and influence and change the world.
Well, we all have that little piece of the power of God. It's all, remember Jesus.
I have no power of God, ma'am. I'm an atheist. You can have your belief in God and everyone else can have their belief in God. No harm, no foul. But I have no such powers of any God, and I'm not related to any God.
Said, whatever I do, you can do too. We can do spontaneous healing. We can do all kinds, but we get caught up in that ego.
Nothing can spontaneously heal.
And what man says, no, you can't do that. Or people will call you names if you think you can do that. But all you got to do is get out of your own way. All you got to do is be in the now, be in the present, look at something and just look at it. Don't think about it. And every time you do that,
listen to that. Look at something, don't think. Look at it, but don't think. Because when you start to think, you doubt. And that's why they don't want you to think. They want you to just look, say this is what it is. Don't even think about it. Because the more you think about it, all you got to do is shut off your Wi-Fi. That was a good one. That's a good one, Independent. I like that one. But yeah, what I'm getting at is, these the very attitude. If anyone tells you, "Hey, don't think about it, just do it," that's somebody you have to be very cautious against, because that's someone clearly trying to make you do something and then trick you into thinking it's your own action. It's manipulation. Everyone needs to think. Don't ever take somebody's word for anything. Always think. If you find something that doesn't align with something, spell it out. If it makes sense to you, explain your reasoning, but never, ever avoid thinking. Anybody trying to tell you that is a manipulator.
Vibrationally, you get higher and higher. Down the road, when all this is past, you're going to see some magnificent beings. Even the babies that are coming in now are powerful. It's beautiful.
Really?
We're working our way up.
Yeah, I've heard you said that it's a 10-year time frame here where things are going to look totally different in 10
Totally
years.
different. And
In
the young
what way?
people will be running the White House, no old folks.
That's right.
There's still going to be old folks in the White House 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. Most people who get into office as a young person stay there till they get old. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
That
Yeah.
is just right. Okay, so how to give us some hope and something to...
Yep. It's the script of all scammers. That's why they rush you to a decision ASAP. Exactly. Exactly. That's the scam. Don't think, just do. Hit the PayPal, hit the Cash App. Don't think about it, just do it. That's the scam.
Also manifest, because when we hear that, I feel like we're manifesting it too. So how will that look like, that new earth or that new way of being a human?
Well, first of all, know that that which is likened to itself is drawn. You cannot create what you're not. In order to manifest what you want, you have to be a match to it. Now, if you don't know how to do that, and it's okay, you just tell them, look, hand it to them, hand it to the realm and say, I want to be of service in this world. You can't say, I want to be famous. Like a lot of people write me about doing a YouTube. Oh, how can I get famous? Or, like I went out of my way to be famous. That's not what I did. I could have
Yes, it is. It is very much what you're doing. It's what you're doing right now. If your goal is to not be famous and to not gain recognition, you wouldn't be showing your face. You wouldn't be having your book. You wouldn't have demonstrated your book at the beginning of this. You wouldn't be going by your name. You wouldn't be doing these interviews. All of these things are meant for people to know who you are, like your content, and to get and to join your personality cult as if you are this psychiatric medium that just knows things before they happen. You just know that everything is going to fall into your prediction. And if not, darn. Well, it's that pesky little free will thing. If only we didn't have free will. That is all in an effort to get noticed.
At 20 subscribers and be very happy. You've got to work beyond yourself. You have to tell them, I'm here. What do you need me to do? Show me my gifts. Show me what I can do. And then let it go. Don't sit and think, oh, where is it? What, let it go. And if it's...
Let what go? If you don't know what you're talking about and you're not thinking about it, what can you let go or hold on to? You're not even... What even is this that you're talking about?
To be... some people do work on lost causes sometimes. Maybe that's not your direction. Maybe you're supposed to be going this way. But it's beautiful because if you really want to give universally, they make sure it happes. There's so many people.
Who's they? Is it the ETs? Is it the man who you don't know? Is it the man talking into your head? Who is they? Who are they going to talk to? Who are they going to make sure something happens universally?
Met that, out of the blue said, I want to do something for, that Benny from Scotland? Benny, B-I-N-N. Oh, he's a master. I've had him on my show. And he was like a big wig working for somebody. It might have been Amazon, but in the corporate, making fat money. And he was miserable. He just said, I really want to help people to find their higher self. And that's what he's doing. And he's doing great.
I'm not going to say that it's impossible for people to decide that, hey, I lived the high life. It wasn't for me. I prefer to be modest, because there are people like that. Don't get me wrong. But I'm very skeptical of people who say that, I was making big bucks and I got out and I was high on the pedestal, and then I just decided to go down because it was lonely at the top or it was hard at the top. I tend to have the feeling that most of the time when that happens, it's because those types of people, do they have the winning lottery ticket? Exactly. I constantly, this is a lie straight up. Yes, it is. And I kind of feel like, when they say that, it's one of two things. Either that's not true at all, or maybe the person has never known true hunger before. And because there was this good movie named Eddie Murphy did called Coming to America. They did 2 movies of it, and it was a beautiful depiction of a guy who actually liked the poverty he went around with, because all he ever known was luxury and what have you. And I do think you can get that, because I do think that can happen. I think that if somebody has only known highs all their life, they actually might psychologically seek lows, because then all they ever known is high and good feelings and good times, and eventually that gets stale after a while. But I think most people who come from the poorest background and poverty and hunger and barely having any food, and then one day they become very rich and successful, or make the big bucks, I don't think they typically ever want to go back down to being at the modest or poverty level. you know I just don't think so, because I know I've always been poor myself, and if I ever get to the point to where I'm making big bucks and I'm becoming very rich, I'm never want to go down back to being the poverty that I am now. I never will. I can't wait to get out of it if I ever do. Because too much to maintain a jobby job. Yeah, honestly, this is again what I'm always saying. People, don't, unless you have a fallback plan or you really don't care, don't put your face online, because once you put your face online and your real name and everything like that, guess what? It's going to be very hard to get employment elsewhere. And if YouTube's not cutting the bills, well, right. Even coming to America, he knew he could go back to his life. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Nobody truly wants to stay on the lower levels and deal with all that poverty and what have you. Everybody who's ever on it wants to go back to everybody who's ever been poor knows that they want to go higher. Anybody who's just stay high and says they want to be poor, they almost certainly don't mean it permanently, and they almost certainly say that just because they want the experience. And even then, when they realize how bad it is, they're more than happy to go back onto the top. So I'm very skeptical of that type of thinking.
So it's great.
I think more and more people are following their calling, and they're going to follow their calling. And it seems like more and more people are opening up to their spiritual abilities.
Yes.
People are having mystical experiences all over the place.
Yeah. I just watched that show. I was dumbfounded. It was the 9/11. It's on YouTube. If you go to my YouTube, you can go to my community page, and I forwarded on there.
And now she's promoting her own content, the very same woman who said she didn't want to be famous.
And it's about the beautiful things that happened with people who lost their, and a lot of people who lost their loved ones in the buildings at 9/11. One gal met her husband and he said, I'm going to die by 2001. He used to tell, so much so that they would just, usually you get an inclination that something's getting ready to happen. A lot of those guys did.
I know. Was that?
I can guarantee you that if they actually knew, if this psychological medium crap was real, and they got a psychiatric message saying, if you enter 9/11 on the building, the Twin Towers at this point in period of time, most of them are not going to go to those Twin Towers at that point in time. So the idea that they predicted their own deaths, I highly doubt it. Maybe he said it as a joke, possibly, if he ever said it at all, but he couldn't have known he was going to die there.
Bonnie Macchini?
That sounds true. There was an Irish one too. Yeah.
I've interviewed her. I was in her house and I got the whole story, and it influenced me so much.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
her the first day I saw it.
Yeah, her husband was constantly speaking about that he would die, he would not survive, he would not be in the dinner party, etc., because he would pass, and he just acted all weird and
nonchalant. And then didn't she try to talk him? He was having
vertigo. It's all hearsay, though. So why should we care?
Is he the one that helped with the first episode at 9/11, the bombing?
I cannot.
But
remember.
He was having some issue, and she tried to get him to stay home. And he said, "No, I'll be fine."
I thought he said he was gonna die in 2001. Now you're telling me he said he'll be fine? That's contradictory.
There's a fireman too that was in there, and he helped a bunch of people get out. And then he just started to walk home, and he's walking over the bridge, and this man came up to him, and they were talking. He said, "Buddy, there was a reason why you lived, and you need to work with others. You need to do this." And that was very profound. And he's listening to the guy, and he's talking to him. And then the guy said, "Okay, I'll talk to you. I'll see you again." And the fireman said, "Yes." And he's walking in full uniform with his hat. He's walking down to the end of the bridge, and there's a couple of police officers. And the police officer said, "Boy, buddy, we were watching you, and we were scared to death you were going to jump off the bridge." He said, what? No, I was just talking to that guy down there. And they said, what guy? You weren't talking to a guy. I guess he was leaning over like this. And
Okay, and where's the recording of this? Because all we're hearing is hearsay. And even if they didn't see a guy there, that doesn't mean the guy wasn't there. They just happened to not see him. It's very possible.
he's talking to the guy. He said, you kept looking back at the World Trade, well, what was there? World Trade Center. And we thought.
Well, good on you for having the energy to work 3 jobs. I know for a fact I wouldn't have the energy. So I congratulate you on your excellent work ethic, because I personally would not have the strength to work 3 jobs, especially yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. That's something that I'm not capable of doing. Perfectly honest with you, Miss Independent, I haven't worked a job in many years, and I specifically refuse, because I could technically go work at, Walmart again, and I could technically go work at a fast food joint if I so wanted. But I'm one of those people that just don't. Yeah, I'm one of those people that actually do want to go up and send money. I absolutely hear what you're saying about, it changes you in negative ways. And you're probably right. But for me, it's all about the money. I'm just a materialist in that way. I have no problem with gaining money, regardless of how it changes me and what have you. My priorities is just the material things that I can enjoy. But I absolutely respect your position, and I absolutely respect the fact that you can work 3 jobs, because that's way more than I can do. So I salute you for that.
For sure you were getting ready to jump. He said, no. So that was trippy.
It is interesting that many of those souls got the awareness or knowledge that they were going to pass. I mean, that is soothing to me, because then it feels like there is a deeper meaning, that there's a destiny there, that they had a soul contract, that, this is what I agreed to do. Because for me,
I will say this, though, Miss Independent. One thing I think you're very smart in is the fact that you work all these 3 jobs, which probably gives you a lot of income, and then you don't actually spend it, because the problem that we have in America today is everyone's just spending their money, and it's not a good idea. It's always great if you can hide your money, save it wherever you can, and just be like, I ain't got $1, buddy. So I think you're very smart for doing that.
opposite, that it just would be a coincidence, that would just be detrimental for me. But when there is a contract there, then we agreed to experience certain things.
Right.
But it's interesting, why?
What contract? What contract did any of us sign? Can anybody, Miss Independent, academic, did you guys remember signing the contract? Because I don't remember signing anything.
They get to know it and others don't?
Oh, they're knocking on our door. What are you talking about? I mean, I'm lucky enough to have profound experience that I can tell you beyond a reasonable doubt, even working as a nurse, there's no such thing as death, that we turn into spirit.
There's no such thing as death, but then you earlier admitted there's physical death, and now you're saying we turn into spirits. Okay.
We're back with our loved ones, our dogs, everybody's up there. So,
okay, good news. I didn't sign either. I didn't sign anything either, but good news, Independent, good news, academic. Not only do we not die, because death apparently isn't. Yeah, exactly. But guys, wonderful news. It turns out that even no matter what we're dealing with, we're not going to die. We're just going to become spirits, and therefore, no matter what sickness, we just tell the doctors, hey, don't put that IV in me, don't do this, because at the end of the day, I'm just going to turn into spiritual energy. Yeah, okay.
But we just have to get out of our own way and get out of our heads and allow them. If you need proof beyond a reasonable doubt, tell them. Say, send me something. Send me, like that woman I don't know if it's one you talked to, there was another woman that was there, if it's not her, that you literally yelled for her husband. Tell me where you are. And then she got enveloped in that wind. And
enveloped in the wind. Oh, did she mean enveloped, or did she mean envelope? I'm confused.
Enveloped. in that wind. So
Okay,
just
enveloped. Okay. What does that have to do with anything? Does the wind somehow have call or collect? Was he supposed to get a gust of wind that just sent the instant message, "Hey, where are you?" And then was he supposed to reply back, "I'm over here," and then the wind come back and envelop her again? I don't understand what wind has to do with anything.
know that, and they're trying, people are talking about their NDE experiences. Thank goodness for YouTube, because they allow us to talk about these things, and it's beautiful. And people just need to know. People are afraid of death.
Yeah, but you're using it to influence people and establish this cult that you're doing about, oh, I'm a psychiatric medium, read my book, follow me on YouTube. This is cultist crap. It's not to inform them, it's to create your own little cult. We see right through you, lady.
So busy running away from death that we disturb living. We don't know how to be alive in this moment. We're too worried.
I mean, not really. I'm a human being. I'm biologically wired to be afraid of dying, but I still live a normal life because I can recognize death is inevitable. I don't believe that I'll become a spirit or I'll live after I die or any of that nonsense. But it doesn't matter because I can still live my life as I choose to.
About what if, and we got to let that go, because there is no such thing.
Our wind based, particularly wind coming from her backside. That was a good one, academic.
As spiritual death, there is physical death.
And
see, you can't say that death isn't real, then admit that there's physical death, and then say there's just no supernatural death. If you're going to say there's no death, then it won't apply physical or spiritual. But if you want to say that there is death, but just physical death, but somehow you can't die as a spirit, then say that at the beginning. Don't tell us we can't die don't first say we can't die and then tell us, oh, we can die, but it's just going to be physical. Well, the physical is the only thing I can confirm, so that's a pretty big deal to me.
On that note, when we die, what will we meet? What kind of realm is it? Is it a beautiful realm? Are we?
Oh, it's gorgeous. I've been there a couple of times. Oh my God. In fact, there's this one place that I've been inside.
Okay, now she's claiming that she's been to the other side, that she's literally seen what we're going to see after we die. I call BS on that. You don't know anything.
Several times. It's an auditorium that's just beautiful. And listen, when I came out of my body, when I was 8 years old, and I met Jesus, the angelic hum that I heard, which is probably vibration.
You met Jesus at 8 years old. Okay.
Was so soothing and warm, and the colors were magnificent. It was like,
I thought it was an auditorium. Now I'm being told it's angelic humming.
Like Technicolor. It was beautiful. And I was only 8 years old. So I knew this is the happy place.
Okay, you're 8 years old. How do we know you didn't imagine it, hallucinate it, or otherwise dream of it?
But I met a woman whose son was killed on his motorcycle hitting an 18-wheeler. And he had a girlfriend, they had 2 kids.
Do we call it tetanus in this realm?
So she comes in and she wants to talk to her son. And all of a sudden, this real tall guy, big tall guy with crystal blue eyes and a beard, comes walking through the wall in my office. And I said, was he really tall with dirty blonde hair and crystal blue eyes? And she starts wailing. And I couldn't look at her because I didn't want to cry. He looked at me with those crystal blue eyes and he said, can you tell her, like he was disturbed, can you?
So this isn't a physical person. This is just a person you're seeing in your third eye, I imagine. Is that what we're hearing now?
Can you tell her I'm more alive now than when I had a body? And
what? You're more alive now than when you had a body. Well, if you don't have a body, you're not alive. So that contradicts itself. It's like saying, I'm more happy than I ever was when I was sad. Well, if I was sad, then clearly I wasn't happy, and I clearly can't be, oh God, just to even try to rationalize this is hurting my brain.
I was like, okay. And so she was still wailing, and he proceeded to tell me exactly what happened, how the bike, he had come up to the 18-wheeler, and I guess he hit the tire, and that he died, but then they brought him back, and then they got him to the hospital, and he could hear the screaming, and that was his mother and his girlfriend. and how he wished he had married the girlfriend. He hadn't married her, but he should have, because she had his 2 kids. And he was just so happy. There was an animal around him that he had loved when he was young, but he was really disturbed that his mother was holding on to him so tight.
What's disturbing about that? The man died and got revived and then, was in the hospital in critical condition, and that's his mom. I mean, I don't have any relationship with my own mother, and I wasn't raised by my mother, but it doesn't take having a mom to understand why a parent would act that way, and I don't understand what's disturbing about that.
Sometimes we do. There's a time for mourning, but there's a time to keep live in their honor, live for them. I was talking to a woman on reading from my home, and a really nice gal. Her husband had died, and she's probably sick of me always talking about her. So I'm trying to find what. Anyway, I was trying to find it. I should have looked. Anyway,
a woman we can't confirm exists, mind you. Just more they crap.
Anyway, she said about her husband, and I could hear him, and I heard him telling me what to tell her. And then all of a sudden, we could hear a physical person's voice. It was coming from my cell phone, which was on my dresser down for me. I had to get up.
So somebody called you. What's your point?
And go over to the end of my dresser. And on my phone was, in our realm, anything is possible.
Okay, you understand that a cell phone can't just do that, right? You would have to be getting a message. So you could have been on an app. You could have been receiving a notification from some other thing. There are endless explanations for why your phone would electronically send that message, other than, oh, some spirit from the other side decided to hijack your phone and write a message.
Like a text message, or
I took a picture of it. In our realm, anything.
She took a picture of it, but she doesn't present it during this live stream. Isn't that interesting?
It's possible.
Who was it from?
It's from her husband.
How do we know that, though? You said you took a photo. Where's the photo?
His phone number?
He's in this realm that anything is possible.
Wow.
Because, a lot of people, when you read about NDEs, they say they were told you got to go back, and they're saying, oh, hell no. They don't want to go back.
Yeah. And we, these people who've lost these people, we're supposed to be present here. There's a time for mourning, you said, but also being present here because we will meet them again. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I understand the appeal more than a lot of people, because I've had people pass away on me as well. And the idea that we'll see them again is a great and wonderful idea. I can understand completely why that helps you get up in the morning, and the idea of it. And I have personal hopes for that as well, despite my atheistic and skeptical side. But I have to, for the sake of integrity, I have to point out that that's just merely a hope, an idea, a dream. It's not the same thing as we actually know when we pass on, so will our loved ones. We just simply don't know that, and we will never know that until we actually die. But she's presenting it as a matter of fact, and that's the problem with it. You can't factually tell us we're going to see whoever we're going to see in an afterlife, because you can't confirm the afterlife.
You'll always see your loved ones again. Even if they are planning on moving on, you'll always meet them again. Interesting, though, I talked to a medium the other day. I had an uncle who was a paranoid schizophrenic. I didn't really know him, but he died, I think, age 62. And this guy is seeing my dead relatives, and he says that particular uncle took another body. I said, and it's in the family, he says.
Took another body, so now spirits can body snatch people. Okay.
Well, I do have a niece that had a son that was really premature and has brain surgery, had to have brain surgery.
And the thing is, too, she said that they don't want to come back. Now their body snatch. Now, the first argument was that they don't want to come back to this realm after they've died. No, we don't want to come back. And now she's telling us, and now she's telling us that, they body snatch people. Yeah, it can be. It can be genetic. And And she's basically admitting that. So she has a family history of schizophrenia. Good catch, Independent.
So he's doing good, but even had to have his whole skull taken out and the brain readjusted. And I thought, I wonder if that's Butch, my uncle. That's weird. Anyway.
Wait. You're trying to. So if I'm understanding this narrative correctly, she's trying to say that a medium told you that a schizophrenic 62-year-old uncle who you never met body snatched a relative's own body while they were having brain surgery. Okay.
Fascinating. Gosh, I can go on and on with you.
I know.
This is so fascinating. Linda, it has been very interesting to have you on the show. I would love to have you back one day. And again, thank you so much for being so bold to really be authentic, because I think these times are about
She wasn't authentic. She was crazy, saying all types of crap that contradict each other, that make no sense whatsoever. And you didn't do your job as a host to really vet what she was saying, because she contradicted herself endless times.
Authentic and speaking our truths, not being afraid of what will other people think. And your YouTube channel is so liberating in that way.
Thank you.
So
Well,
thank you so
you know,
much.
and I'm having a good time, and the people.
Exactly, because age is just a number. Mindset is you have your mindset. The mind is the most powerful weapon. The age is just a number, and thinking critically is something that we should all be doing. Many people should be thinking critically. Ideally, all of us, but in reality, most of us who are critical thinkers, we're going to be in the minority, sadly. I wish that one day we get to a point where most people are critical thinkers, but we're in 2026 and we still haven't seen it. But good on you for being a critical thinker.
People are so cool. I get criticism, but I hire people to get rid of those ones. But I still can get my feelings hurt. But it's so good to be this.
Nobody cares about your feelings.
Old, because you just really don't. Take it or leave it. Listen, I wanted to show you this.
Okay. This doesn't prove anything though, and I'm glad she brings it up, because she didn't bring it up initially, which is why I said, hey, you didn't bring it up in this live stream. But I stand corrected. You did bring it up. Still doesn't prove anybody actually wrote it though. Saying actually his life with what? Okay, first, that text message doesn't make any sense. Secondly, in my realm, anyone can be anything. Okay. How do we know that came from the dead, though? I'll be happy to stand corrected that you actually did show it in the live, but this doesn't prove anything, though. Anybody could have written that at any given time. There's no time, date, nothing.
Oh, thank you. Oh, wow. That is fascinating.
In my realm.
Let's stay with her Obama phone. Exactly. And, I stand corrected. Earlier, I said that she didn't put it on this live because I'm reacting to it for the first time. But even if I stand corrected that message exists, it doesn't establish that the dead wrote it. More than likely, either she wrote it or somebody that she knows wrote it. And all it says is in my realm, anyone could be anything. And that in itself doesn't prove there's another realm. So, no, that's not sufficient evidence. I'm sorry.
Anyone. Oh, no, it's not anything is possible. In my realm, anyone can be.
So you didn't even present it right. You're saying that you said it in your own way, and in reality, it said in my realm instead of the realm, it's my realm. So it's a subjective thing. Cool.
Anything.
It seems like spirits are using technology more.
So what that means is she's essentially admitting to us now that the evidence that, I thought didn't exist didn't even say what she said it meant. So she just debunked herself.
More and more. I just interviewed a Norwegian woman, Ragnhild, who was contacted by extraterrestrials through text messages constantly.
No kidding.
Yeah, she has been
extraterrestrials are texting her. Okay. I want to know, hey, anybody got the phone? So they're dead and they can do whatever they want, but they choose to get a cell phone and text. Exactly. That's the argument. And now this host is telling us the ETs, the extraterrestrials, are texting everyone. I want to know what's the ET's number? Where's the ET hotline? I'd like to ask these ETs some questions.
text messaging with them
Did
for
you already
years.
show up?
It's coming on the show.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to watch it. Have you read any Egyptian people
If I've read any Egyptian people
that are connected with spirit? I have a real strong feeling that there's, I don't know, I think Egyptian people have real strong spiritual connections.
So your connection is based on your nationality now? Is that the argument? Okay.
That's what I get.
Probably.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I might have been
Yeah.
Egyptian in a past life, you know.
I should
How you might have been Egyptian in a past life. Did you ever take a DNA test to say that you had any ancestors all the way back in Egypt? Or is this more body snatching argument?
have some wisdom from Egypt as well. Well, Linda, this has been really a thrill. And I have a few questions that I ask everyone. And my first one is, what is self-love to you?
Self-love.
Who cares what that means?
You'll never get it all done and you'll never get it all right. You have to understand you're human and you have to forgive yourself more because people have a hard time. They carry on that sword, and forgive others. Because when you hold on to that anger towards others, it only hurts you. It's like I was talking trash about, 45 on my show. And my guys stopped me in mid-sentence. They said, Linda, knock it off. I said, what? They said, it doesn't hurt him. It only hurts you.
In most cases, when you're going to insult somebody, that person probably doesn't care about your opinion. So, I mean, it can hurt you long term if you continue to hold on to that anger. But sometimes when you insult somebody for being disrespectful, it can feel pretty good. So I wouldn't necessarily count it out as not being good. It just depends on how you handle it. Obsessively thinking it over for years, yeah, that's not good. Holding it in and never expressing what you think, yeah, that's not good. But when someone disrespects you and you can say something insultive, pretty much even master it without even having to curse at them, that feels good. I don't feel bad when I curse somebody out or when I insult them, because when I'm doing it for a reason.
So he doesn't, he does care about all the negative, but it really,
he does
you hurt
need it
yourself by
badly.
constantly coming from that angry spot, which we can't help sometimes because we're so mad. But I would say, let it go and let God in and know that this too shall pass.
So are we letting the ETs in or are we letting God in?
This too shall pass. And what is the deepest meaning of life from your perspective?
To be with the living. To be alive.
The meaning of life is to be with the living. Okay. Pretty sure we don't have it. As long as we're alive, we don't have that choice. So I don't see where there's meaning in that.
In the moment, to be with the living. We go through life with, well, of course, there's things we have to worry about, paying the bills, making sure the kids are fed, stuff like that. But if you live in the moment, all those things.
Hey, according to your logic, there's no true death. We'll all just become spirits and we'll meet each other in happy land. So why would you worry about those types of things? Unless life has an inherent value that's outside of your happy land.
Things come really easier because you're allowing the higher realm to work through you, because vibrationally you're a match. If you always worry.
A match for what? For who? Who are we a match of? To who?
About money, guess what? You create more of the same. Lack of money. You have to tell them thank you for whatever. I thank them for the cancer.
Thank for what? If they're not paying my bills, if they're not giving me a huge stack of cash, what am I going to thank them for?
Because it was the opening for me. It saved me. So thank them for what.
I wouldn't be surprised
for what you have, and watch the gifts that come. That's beautiful.
Powerful. Where can people find you? Tell us the name of the YouTube channel if people want to follow you and learn more.
If you
see, they said this isn't about being famous. They said no, this isn't. You're not going to become famous. Now it's where can they follow you? Where can they find you?
Google Linda Grindle, you're going to find me, or Linda G. But it's Linda G. Comanche Psychic. And listen, I don't do
Linda G. Comanche Psychic
paid readings anymore. So if people come and try to say they're
you're a psychic and you don't give anybody readings anymore. Wow.
Because people copy my account and then say they're me and try to get people on WhatsApp or something like that to get you to pay for a reading. I've had people contacting me Linda, I'm waiting for you to call me. I was like, honey, I don't do readings anymore. So it's fraud. Okay. So, but if you want to watch the show, anybody's welcome to come watch. And I'm at Linda G. Comanche Psychic.
Lovely. Yes, and I want to say that again. I've also had fake accounts. So if I'm asking you to do anything, it's not me. It's not me. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on the show. All the best with all your videos on YouTube and your work.
Thank you, honey. Thank you.
Wow. That's just wow. Yeah, she has the play button on display. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. When someone is in that state, you can't do them until they get help. Exactly. So, guys, now that that session of the bid is over, we will now go into the documents that I actually generated before I even reacted to it. That part was just to get you guys to give you my raw reaction to it. Is exactly, yeah, exactly. And you're gonna, I think you'll agree with my verdict. So this is the first aspect of it. Going into her, I hope you guys can see it good. I don't know how to increase it beyond this. But basically, the overview is about the, oh, hold on. Let me unhighlight that. So the overview here is just basically going over her claims. She claims that there is election integrity and cheating. Linda G asserts that the most recent presidential election was cheated and that her tech figures like Elon Musk aided in taking a whole bunch of votes. She claims that this will be proven beyond reasonable doubt in the future. Her justification, her medium justification, she attributes this knowledge to 3 entities of light and specific male voice that speaks to her mind, asserting that the light always outshines the dark. She has no credible evidence of widespread voter fraud or voting taken by CEOs has been validated by any U.S. court, Department of Justice, or cybersecurity infrastructure agency. As of 2026, the election results remain legally certified, while Elon Musk has been a prominent political donator and figure, e.g. through America PAC. His involvement is documented as financial and platform-based on Twitter rather than a physical manipulation of voter counts. Digital Investigation Unit, pretty much. That's what it said. That's what it called itself. Oh, gotta take that out. Now, reading into that, so the first claim is obviously easily to debunk. There is no cheating that actually happened. Second, claim of removal of third leaders. She has claimed that by the end of 2026, Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Benjamin Netanyahu, I can't pronounce that right, will be gone from power. Her justification is she used tarot cards, the Eight of Wands, to justify the swiftness of these departures, and claims that the realm, quote unquote, is overreaching a shift consensus to remove bullies. Donald Trump, here's the reality though. Donald Trump remains a figure in American politics. His departure would require a constitutional, crap, I can't read the last bar. Oh, okay, here we go. Make sure the slide goes away. Would require swift legal, here we go. Swift or guaranteed by current. It would require a constitutional process, impeachment or conviction, resignation, or election loss, none of which are legally swift or guaranteed by current polling. And what was that left? Where do extraterrestrial little people come into play? Honestly, I didn't even catch that part, so that's not part of my documents, but definitely I wish I had caught in that. But that's the crazy part. The extraterrestrial part I didn't even know till I reacted to that video. Oh, my bad. Wait, there's a second part to this. Give me a second for this stupid stuff to go away. Vladimir Putin maintains significant control over Russia's state apparatus with no immediate legal or domestic mechanism for removal removal currently active. Benjamin, while facing domestic protests and ongoing legal trials in Israel, he remains the sitting prime minister as of the current date. Now, 3. analysis of authority and credibility. The divine nurse archetype. Gendel frequently references her past as an ER and hospice nurse to establish authority. In the physical world, a nurse is a figure of clinical objective sense. By blending this with mediumship, she attempts to create a bridge of credibility. The tactic. Using the language of a medical professional beyond reasonable doubt or physical evidence to lend a veneer of forensic certainty to metaphysical guesses. The disconnect. Medical professionals are bound by HIPAA and evidence-based practice. Gendel's claims are, by definition, anecdotal and cannot be cross-referenced with medical or public records, as shown by the lack of public nursing license matches. Medical or public records, as shown in the lack of public nursing license matches for her name. So we can't confirm she's a nurse, actually. 3.2, justification for failure. When her predictions are not met, e.g., she admits to failure to predict the previous election outcomes, she justifies this through the concept of free will. If the prediction fails, it is because man's free will to change the timeline. This makes her claims unfalsifiable in the physical or legal framework. A statement that is true regardless of the outcome holds no evidential value. So she's basically trying to make it impossible for people to prove her wrong. Conclusion. Glendel's claims exist in a metaphysical silo where the spiritual logic is used to bypass physical evidence. While she presents it as insights or revelations, they align closely with existing online political discourse and conspiracy theories rather than independent investigative findings. There is currently a significant gulf between her medium truths, quote unquote, and the documented legal and political status of the objectives that she discusses. She probably at this point, Homer Senior, not a nurse, right? So predictions are bunker then. Yeah, pretty much. All right, moving on to the next one. This one is directly about the media analysis and background check. This report provides an interactive overview of the YouTube. Gotta highlight that. Of the video that we just saw, and featuring Linda Grindo, or Linda G, and the host. The investigation focuses on the identities of the participants, their professional backgrounds, and the review of the claims made during the interview, with specific focus on verifying the subject's credentials. Subject profiles. Linda G, psychiatric medium and author. Her claims she identifies as a registered Comanche Native Oklahoma and former registered nurse, ER and hospice. Public presence, operates the Linda G psychiatric YouTube channel, author of the book Unveiling Extra Current Status, claims to be 72 years old, and states that she has retired from performing personal readings and nurses. And then this is also the lady who was interviewing her. She's a former Norwegian musical artist. And per a spiritual awakening podcast, the platform includes the disclaimer that the guest views are for entertainment purposes only. Credentials and verifications. An attempt was made to verify the specific provincial ancestor claims made by Linda G. Nursing licensure. Linda G claims to have worked as an ER hospice and labor dispensary LA nurse, specifically maintaining Marin County, California. California Board of Registry Nurses has yielded no active or historical licenses that match the public figure's pedestal facing portrayal the person. It didn't produce anything, essentially. Oklahoma Board of Nursing, also no public records were found in the name Linda Glendale or Jindale, however you pronounce her name. Let's just call her Miss G. The absence of a public record may indicate that the license was held under a different name, maiden name, was not in California or Oklahoma, or has been purged from the active search database due to the length of time since her retirement. So basically, we not only can't confirm that she was a nurse, but there's also no record of it. But I want to point out that it could be that I got it wrong with Lene before when I thought that way. So I'm going to leave that as ambiguous. We can't know. I'm not going to make an absolute claim there. Now, 3.2, Tribal Resignation Comanche Nation. The subject claims to be a registered Comanche native from London County. The tribal records are generally private and protected from the by the Comanche Sovereignty. Public verification of the individual's CDI, Certificate of Degree of India Board, or tribal ID is not possible without the subject's direct cooperation. So we can't know for a fact. She did her self-identification is a core of her Linda G. Comanche psychological binding, which is accepted within her community and followers, but remains unverified by third parties. Main points in the video. She claims that Putin and NATO will lose their power by 2026, asserts that by 2024 to 2025, political outlaws involving cheating and intervention by tech figures like Elon Musk will be known. Spiritual philosophy discusses the spontaneous healing of her cancer and belief that physical death is not the end of existence. While Miss G maintains a consistent narrative regarding her background, no independent public records currently validate her nursing credentials or tribal status under her public name. As is common with public figures in the metaphysical space, her authority rests primarily on her personal testimony and the testimonials of her YouTube community. Right, because I can't give a definition on that one. We are not certain, but we did try. And by we, I just pretty much mean me and my AI. My AI doesn't get credit. It's not a person. All right, now is the investigation. Now we move on to the investigation of the spontaneous healing claims. This report performs the forensic analysis and claims made by Linda G regarding her 2007 diagnosis, subsequent recovery. Each claim is evaluated against medical logic, public records, and the internal consistency of her testimony to determine the likelihood of it factually being true or false. The claim-by-claim possibility assessment is as follows. The 2007 cancer diagnosis. She claims that she was diagnosed with a life-threatening cancer that resulted in the loss of her breasts and hair. This is likely true. Her description of no breasts, no hair is highly specific to a stage 2 or stage 3 breast cancer treatment plan involving bichestral mastectomy and cytotopic chemotherapy. Likely androgen. I'm sorry, guys. I can't pronounce these advanced words. Which causes total whatever this means. It is rare for a fake claimant to include the physical loss of breast mastectomy as a detail unless they have lived through it, as it is a permanent physical altercation. Claim B, the spontaneous healing by nature. That the cancer was cured by a divine voice and spiritual earth smell rather than the medical intervention. Likely false. Her rationale on her own admission underwent surgery. By her own admission, she underwent surgery and chemotherapy. In medical science, if a patient undergoes the standard of medical care and the cancer goes into remission, the healing is attributed to the medicine. Labeling it spontaneous is a post hoc spiritual reinterpretation of a successful medical outcome. Proposal C, nursing claim. She claims that she was a registered nurse. We can't confirm that. It's unverified. The search of the public records for Linda and no active historical license. However, her use of medical terminology and her detailed scrupulous of the rigor mortis she saw as a nurse suggests some level of medical exposure. It is highly probable that she worked under a maiden name, e.g. a native Comanche name, which is not publicly linked to her Linda G stage name. Number 3, the miracle versus reality. She made the claim that it was a divine voice and earth smell. The physical reality is it was surgery and chemotherapy. Timings, instant spontaneous zooming energy. Reality, it takes months of recovery and remission. Outcome, 19 years of being cancer-free. The physical reality is a standard 5-year survival success rate. Validation, her spiritual Comanche sign, lack of austerity, octologically case study. I know I'm mispronouncing some of these words, but it's genuinely hard to say some of them for me. 4. The forensic conclusion. The investigation concludes that while the physical event, such as the cancer and recovery, is likely factual, the explanation provided by the subject is a narrative construction designed to bolster her identity as a medium. The truth. She likely survived a very difficult battle with breast cancer through conventional 2007 era medicine. The claim that the recovery was an unexplainable or spontaneous or unspontaneous, the presence of a surgical scars and the chemotherapy side effects, their loss provides a clear physical explanation for her survival that contradicts the miracle branding. Yep, very much delusional. Now we move on to what is this one? Now we've moved on to the judicial decree. In the Tribunal of Logical and Physical Digital Investigation Unit, case number 2626 LG001, which does not exist because I am not an actual judge and this is not a legitimate judicial trial, just so that everyone knows that. This matter came before the tribunal for an investigation into the public claims by respondent Linda Grindale, professionally known as Linda G. The tribunal has reviewed the respondent's testimony regarding her medical history, professional credentials, and her political prophecies. Upon deliberation of the evidence, the following renders are finded. On count 1, lying about professional credentials, not guilty. The tribunal finds that while no public record of the nursing license exists under the name Linda Grindale in California or Oklahoma, the prosecution has not provided a definite maiden name or historical alias to cross-reference. As public records for retired individuals can be archived or held under alternative identities, the charge of intentional fabrication of credentials remains unverified. The respondent is granted the benefit of doubt on this count. Count 2, misrepresentation of medical science, guilty. The respondent has repeatedly claimed that death does not exist and that her cancer was cured by metaphysical entry. The tribunal finds that the respondent cannot produce any empirical evidence or post-corpusal existence, nor can she provide any correspondence for the existence of the man she claims spoke to her. By presenting these unpredictable metaphysical existence as a clinical facts, she misrepresents the reality of biological termination and the established medical efficiency of chemotherapy and the surgery she received. Count 3, disproven and unsupported political claims, guilty. The respondent has asserted as a fact that the high-level political figures and tech CEOs engaged in illegal counts of manipulation, engaged in illegal election manipulation. These claims are directly contradicted by the legal facts of the physical world, which show no evidence in any court of law or government investigation. The use of channeled information to bypass the requirement of legal evidence constitutes a direct assault on objective political reality. Count 4, deception and medical physical evasion, guilty. The tribunal finds that the respondent utilizes the concept of free will as a strategic and deception, justifying her incorrect metaphysical predictions by claiming that man's free will can change and predict the outcome and rendering her predictions unfalsifiable. This practice is a form of cognitive manipulation that prevents accountability for false information and sustains her medium identity through deceptive logic. Sentencing. Verdict. Based upon the multiple counts of misrepresentation, unsupported claims, and disruptive logic found herein, the respondent is hereby sentenced. The respondent is formally designated as a scammer for life. This is a permanent and irrevocable, reflecting the inherent deception found in her public mediumship and the explanation of her metaphysical concepts to bypass objective truth. The respondent's claims are hereby classified as speculative metaphysical narrative and are deemed to have no standing in any legal, medical, or practical frameworks. Users are cautioned that her justifications are an archetype existing outside of the bonds of her physical verifiable reality. as entered on the date March 23rd, 2026, the Digital Investigation Unit. There you go. And just remember, this is not an actual legal court or a legal document. This is all generated by my artificial intelligence, and that was just my verdict based upon how we investigated my AI investigated her YouTube channel, based on everything I provided. I provided the AI the YouTube channel, and then had it create those documents. Right, it is very accurate. And as far as the last thing, the judicial decree, that's just a bit of fun. Some of you have said, "Hey, role play as a judge," so that's my role play as a judge. I just don't want anyone thinking, "Oh, there's an actual investigation unit," or "Oh, this is an actual thing." No, it is just exactly. It's just a format, and I have to say that for legal-based purposes, I am no actual judge. This is just the theme you guys wanted me to play, so that's the theme I decided to go with, and I'm just saying that so no one can come after me later. And thank you, man. And thank you, Academic. I really like that, because I was nervous to do it, and I was also thinking, this wouldn't do very well. But I'm glad you guys liked it, and because I'm receiving a positive reaction out of it, I'm more than happy to continue doing it in the future. But now we've got to end the live, because StreamYard has let me know that I'm running out of my hours on here, and I have to finish the one with Lene Stacks, as the group has wanted me to, as the community has decided I do. So that is the case of Linda G. She is a scammer. We find her guilty on multiple counts of lying. Yeah, and I understand that, and I'll definitely do that. Is there anything you guys think I should do to improve it? Alrighty then. And I'll always be happy for any things that you guys want me to do to change, or to improve upon. But that's basically. Yep, back to her tomorrow. Yay. Well, guys, it was wonderful. I don't want to eat up any more of my time. Definitely send me a message or contact my, do the verdict as a Southern Baptist minister voice. I'll try. I'll try, Independent. I'll try. People do say I sound Southern anyway, which technically I am, because I'm from Southern California. But anyways, guys, it was wonderful for you guys being here today. I will see you all tomorrow morning when we go and watch Lene again. Have a good one.